has to offer, which is part of why I'm here with my family. But I think that there is a lot of opportunity for the future in terms of building out the areas that people want to continue to hold very dear to them, the historical areas of town, all of the public land, the conservancy land, as well as being able to also bring in new development that would really help the community. But it all should be done so that it fits together.
Have you attended any steering committee meetings so far?
Yes, I was at the last meeting.
What do you love most about Littleton?
What do I love the most?
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that people really love living here, that there's so much history. I purchased one of the books from Littleton Historical Society that talks about the history of the city, as well as being able to see all the various stone walls that are here, the different structures, all of the homes that are still standing after hundreds of years. You have to remember, coming from Denver, old is at most 150 years old. Maybe a little bit more than that, but that's it. So to me, it's just absolutely fascinating.
You made a motion. I'll make a motion that we nominate Anna Houston
Houston, yep.
to the Master Plan Update Steering Committee.
Second.
So moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You sure?
Welcome.
You sure?
Be careful what you wish for.
I look
Okay.
forward to serving if I'm appointed. Thank you.
You've just been appointed, I believe, as the
Yeah, she's
selectman.
been through the half process. She'll go to the selectmen on the 7th, I believe. Good. Yeah.
Halfway down the aisle. Well, thank you.
You're welcome to stay and enjoy the meeting.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. Durkey Farm Estates,
Yeah,
someone here to
yeah, right.
these?
Good evening. For the record, Brian Goodger with Hancock Associates, representing Graham Road LLC and Turkey Farm Builders Incorporated. So I believe we have a few items to discuss this evening. Mr. Chair, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to skip right to E regarding the bond. We have proposed a bond amount that was circled through the town and Green Associates, and we subsequently revised it based on their 5 comments. Their comments were with respect to castings. They were not included in the original bond, and that is because they have been installed in the interim. Green asked for base gravel for the sidewalk to be included. We included it. Snow removal, we proposed $2,500. I had a conversation with Jim Clyde today regarding an appropriate amount. We prorated a set $3,000 per year snow removal allotment for fiscal, or for this season, 16-17, and 2 additional years of $3,000 for a total of $7,000. We added signing and striping in there, and there was a comment regarding the gas line. We did not include gas line within the bond because right now we're on hold for an undetermined amount of time because of National Grid. There's infrastructure upgrades that need to happen, and we simply don't know when that's going to take place. We've had discussions with Green and with Mr. Clyde regarding how to install gas in a future time frame when it becomes available, and I think everyone's on board with that. It's just we simply don't know when. So as a part of the bond approval, what we are also looking for is a lot release on lots 2 and 5 through 14. If you look at the sheets that Mara nicely color-coded, the blue is the farmhouse and the 2 spec houses that were not part of the covenant during the original approvals. The pink are the lots that we're looking to have a release on, and the green is the road that has been built to date. The roads have all utilities associated with them, binder is down, and now we're looking to start building homes. There's been a lot of interest, and our client would like to move forward, get foundations in the ground before the frost.
Okay, so let's see, they provided the initial bond numbers, Green looked at those, and Brian responded with this updated sheet, and he just described the changes that were made.
Is 416 still good, or is that not?
No, the new number is,
Oh, the big sheet that's going down.
so the new bond total is $444,691.64.
And Green had some issues with some of these.
Green hasn't looked at this
This new
new
one?
sheet that came in today, but this is in response to Green's comments before. I would ask for a little bit of leeway from you, if you're ready. I think you should approve of a bond amount, just one more time back to Green to back check all of this.
Maren, what are the odds of this bond going any higher once Green sees this, do you know?
50/50, higher or lower, you know.
We have 20% contingency as well, so that's a bit of a cushion.
Right. If you want to vote on a certain amount pending any revisions within, what, 10%? Are you happy, or by Green, or?
Let's see.
Have you looked at any of these numbers at all, Jim, for anything that has to do with the roadway and pavement, any of that?
I looked at the initial ones with the comments from Green.
And pretty much in line with Green's? Okay. And these new ones are, have been reassessed to Green's standards of sorts? I didn't check one to the next one. I didn't line item them. But for the most part, we're pretty close.
Yeah, there's a significant
They were
increase.
just the updates from,
What
yeah.
you just
It's
talked
enough
about.
it's enough to get us going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's- They're gonna be coming in for more anyway, we can catch it on the.
We can.
So item
Release.
3, I'd make a motion to approve the bond at $444,691.64.
I'll second that.
Made a motion and second, those in favor?
Aye.
And they do, it is a cash bond, correct?
Cash, correct? Any more discussion about that?
That's my knowledge.
Okay. That's the number that we're working with now.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to address any of these other things?
And
Well,
once that bond is in place, the current request for the board is to release the lots pending having that cash bond put into place.
Correct.
And the lot numbers,
2 and 5 through 14, and they're the pink lots indicated on the plan.
okay, so the covenant, the restrictive covenant and the cash bond would be the bond for the subdivision. I don't know how far you want me to explain this.
No, we're all right.
So you have a lot release request for lots 2 and 5 through 14. Need a board vote to release those lots. If you release those from the restrictive covenant, that allows him to pull building permits.
Any questions?
He's not gonna get the final until the covenant's in place and all the other,
The covenant's in place.
It is in place?
Yeah. The work, the construction went very quickly on the roadway. There were a few extra inspections, but the inspector liked what he was seeing. He was happy
Okay.
with it.
I drove out there last week, and it does look pretty nice, and even the job sites are clean, which is pretty good.
they're good to go then, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I saw the job site too, before I left, and it looked great. One house was up and the
Right, so-
foundation was in.
There's two houses, well, one's sided and the other one's,
Right.
and
I was.
rafters are going up, I believe, and that was.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, it looks clean, looks like it's a
Do we
good
hear a
job.
motion?
Thank you.
I make a motion to release those the lots 2 through,
The 2 and 5 through 14,
2 and 5 through 14.
Second.
as soon as the bond is in place.
Yeah, once we get the cash.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
You have your lots.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll draft that decision and ask you, I'll get your signature somehow on it, and then they will record that at the registry. And the recorded document comes in with the building permit applications.
Okay, 5 minutes of fun is up, so you can sit around and we'll address these other ones at the end of the meeting.
If you'd like to. Yes, sir.
We'll give it a shot. If it runs late, then we'll put you on another meeting, okay? So the next thing on the board is Whitcomb Avenue. Hi, how are you?
I'm David Leroy, and I'm a professional land surveyor with David Ross Associates. I prepared the plan, creating a parcel B and Lot 1A.
See, can't really tell on that one.
They're full size over there, sorry.
If you open that one up.
You want this down there? You want to get up and see it down there? There's two.
I will share this one here, and you two can look at that one. Looks like it's just changing. Well, go ahead, sir. I kind of got an idea.
Oh, yeah, we just, we created a lot around the existing house, number 189, and a parcel across the street, parcel B, which is not a building lot.
This is the driveway one, correct? Or they want to change the driveway?
No.
Crap,
Nope,
I
this
got
is-
the wrong fella.
This is more land.
All right.
Lane, looking at,
Okay,
so it's just this one here, and that's the new lot, so.
okay.
Approval not
This is that
required.
little barn across the way, the parcel B is where
Oh,
that
I know which
little.
one it is.
No, that's down the street a little bit. There's a barn foundation,
Okay.
there's an old foundation there, and a lot of stone walls across the street.
Here's Nancy's way. Here's one of them.
Oh, so where does who gets parcel B?
This section right here.
I believe that the house was up for sale and parcel B was created for conveyance. I believe to be conveyed.
With lot 1A?
The house lot, 40,
Oh, the house lot beside it.
Yep.
across the street.
Across the street.
Yeah.
It goes with 1A.
Yeah,
Parcel B and 1A are
1A is
together.
gonna go,
Okay.
That's 24,000. How many square feet of frontage do we have? Is it going to be on the same deed?
I
that's why
don't know
it's-
that.
That's why it's probably a parcel, because it can't have the road through it. So it has to be two separate lots.
How many feet of frontage does it have?
Does it say on here possibly it's not a building lot?
It does,
How many
under
is
the
it?
notes.
Yep.
How many does it have?
Parcel B is not a building lot.
177 feet.
So it could be a buildable lot.
It's
True.
24,000 square feet, I don't think it
When was
meets.
it subdivided?
Right now.
Right now. This is-
Yeah.
It wasn't cut off before and they're just separating it by the,
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't see any issues with it.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
I don't either. There's plenty of frontage.
Approval not required.
Well, that's not the thing.
So let's,
If you want, I'll make a motion.
All right, go ahead.
Motion to approve A&R for 189 Whitcomb Ave. As
Have
presented.
a motion, or your second?
Second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
If you could take a couple minutes and just sign it now, we can send him on his way.
Okay. Do you have a mile?
two paper and one.
If you could do two paper and the Mylar, that'd be great.
You guys go, I'll wait for you.
You still need those, still want those cornstalk?
I don't know, I'm pretty much closed down for the season.
How about the corn?
I have to read that, don't I?
Doesn't anybody sign it so you know who the hell you are?
That was the line. Me too. Still? Good God.
Where are we now?
I think mine.
Did this just show up here?
There you go.
Thanks for your time, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Huh? You sick too?
I had a cold, but well done.
That's not good.
We approved in the new building code, 2018. You know what I approved it in?
Please, yes.
We just-
Public hearing, the Water Resource District Special Permits, 20 Foster Street. The Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, November 3rd, 2016 at 7:15 PM in room 103 of Town Hall, 37 Shattuck Street, to consider the application for special permits pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A and the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning. The application is the Aquifer and Water Resource District special permits under Section 173-61 through 173-64 of the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning. I keep reading this, right?
Yeah, right to the end.
20 Foster Street, Assessors Map U 20, Parcel 9, Town of Littleton. The applicant is seeking a Water Resource District special permit to allow construction and use of approximately 20,700 square foot new fire station building, utilities, parking, and associated site improvements, including an emergency generator with up to 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel and no net increase in impervious cover or septic flows. Application and plans can be viewed at the Planning Board and Town Clerk's office during their business hours. Any person interested in wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated or provide comment to Maren Tuhel at littletonmass.org or P.O. Box 1305 Littleton, Mass. 01460 by November 2nd, 2016.
Stand and be heard. Surface area overs. Certainly mark some of these things up. Avoid them. You all set?
I am, thank you.
Stand and be heard.
Sure. For the record, I'm Sue Carter from Places Associates, site engineer for the proposed fire station. With me tonight is Chief Warden. I knew I was gonna do that in public. I could say it every other time. We're here for the site plan approval and water resource special permits for the proposed fire station addition and revised site plan at 20 Foster Street. I'll start out, just give you an overview of the site plan issues, and then we'll show you more details of the building. For those, I don't know if people can see me, or if I'd be better over here. Kept it very simple so you could see it from a distance. Everyone knows where the fire street is. It's on Foster Street on the corner of Willoughby's Road. The existing fire station is roughly in this location. And this shows Foster Street along the frontage, Wilderness on the side. The existing site, we had a hard time doing the survey on it because the deeds weren't found anywhere except for the Historical Society, but we managed to find them. It's about 1.67 acres. Currently, if you were to go out there today, there's the existing building for the fire station, the brick building. There's office trailers behind it. There's the old police station, and there's also a large garage building that holds some of the equipment. There's also a small shed at the back of the site. Right now, the existing buildings are up about 11,830 square feet, which results in 71.6% lot coverage. Existing site has approximately 52 parking spaces, some of which are not usable because it's got fire department equipment, trailers, and other storage on it. With the proposal, a couple of key things: the existing building will remain, the brick building up front, historical, the one that used to be the town hall way back when, and the new building will be built around it and in back of it. So the existing building is roughly along the front, and the addition goes around the back. The thing about the existing building is that it's not ADA accessible, so one of the key things with the renovation and addition is to make sure that the interior of the building is accessible, and that is part of the design that I'll show you with the building plans in a moment. The resulting building footprint is 17,600 square feet footprint with a gross floor area of 20,700 square feet. The overall impact to the site has significant improvements over the existing conditions. Right now, we have in terms of circulation of the site, the abutter has their access to their garage right from the same driveway that the fire department uses. If you were to go out there today, you'd see that a lot of the volunteers and personnel park diagonally on that side. So you have a conflict between vehicles coming into the fire station site, exiting the fire station site, and people parking there as well as the abutter. Under the proposed conditions, what we're proposing to do is to allow the abutter to continue using the access to their property. That was part of the agreement that was worked out with the chief and the abutters. We couldn't find a written easement, but everyone's trying to be a good neighbor, so we're maintaining their access to their site. And they also have sort of a ramp area in the backyard, so they need to get in their backyard to, say, prune trees or something, they can get access to it. So we're maintaining that. We also have made provisions in construction documents to make sure they have that access throughout the construction process. So with the internal circulation, once you're past the abutter's driveway, the main use of this access point is going to be to gain access to their small apparatus bays on the side, brush truck, smaller vehicles. The main parking area has been relocated to the back of the building with apparatus bays and a concrete apron facing Wilderness Road. Because of the heavy weight of the fire trucks and turning movements, we have heavy-duty pavement coming all the way around the building and down Wilderness Road for the distance that we expect the trucks to be turning. So we expect that traffic circulation for use of the station, instead of vehicles turning around on Foster Street, will now be relocating them more to Wilderness Road. So it'll improve the overall site safety.
So you're gonna take the cars, the vehicles out of the back of it, the fire truck decides to go on a fire call, it goes out the back and it's gonna turn to the right and it's actually gonna go, oh, you just said you're gonna pave Wilderness Road more?
It's
You're gonna connect Wilderness Road with the parking lot?
correct. It currently is connected to the existing parking lot, or what is perceived as the parking lot now. What we will be doing is improving the quality of the pavement so it can handle the turning motion of a fully loaded pumper truck or the ladder truck. We also recognize the fact that parking on the side was used by the church. So what we've made is public parking for visitors to the fire station, or also can be used for the church on Sunday, in the front with some two handicap spots and 3 public parking spots. The overall parking on the site, existing has 52, proposed we have 46 spaces. We have 5 spaces in the front. We have 16 in this location marked for staff or reserved so that we have spaces close to the apparatus bays for call firefighters. We have 25 in back for general purpose. Another feature of this design is the fire station contains a training tower, which is located in this back corner. so that by having control over the parking spaces in that area, we're able to move the apparatus in and around the training tower, which they'll be using for training, I believe, evacuations and confined spaces, and
It has multiple props throughout the tower. It's basically a two-level system inside that has fire escape material, the metal, and there are grate type structures that can be removed with anchor points in the ceiling so that we could do confined space, like through simulated manhole covers, propelling their metal exterior windows so they could throw the ladders to them without damaging any of the brick or anything like that.
Do they have the Hollywood-style fire that comes out the windows?
Yeah, we'll work on that.
so I think the key thing here is that the rework of the site plan and the traffic and the parking has been done with keeping in mind the use of the property.
Is there such a tower over in Westford?
They have a larger tower. This is rather small, simple, gives us the ability. We also the goal is to run some sprinkler system inside. There's a cistern underneath the parking lot so that we could actually draw water from a 10,000 gallon cistern instead of tapping it in the hydrant system, where we would actually be able to charge and simulate charging a sprinkler system in a commercial building, giving some of that training. It's a much, probably less than half the size of what they would have in Westford.
In terms of looking beyond just the circulation on the site, one of the big concerns and one of the issues with the Water Resource Protection Overlay District is obviously impervious cover. Under existing conditions, the site is approximately 71.6% impervious, and under proposed, we are 71.5%. And yes, that was done on purpose. One of the key things with this is under this DEP stormwater management, if we have a decrease in the amount of impervious area, the site is considered redevelopment. And in that, we're required to bring the drainage up to current standards to the amount practicable. On this site, it's a tough site. We have a lot of utilities and other drainage structures out there. So we have worked with bringing it up to the extent practicable. To that end, I'd like to just briefly discuss drainage and tell you how we are improving water quality on the site. Currently, the drainage, there's catch basins throughout the site and under some of the buildings that capture water from Fay Park. If you've ever been over there, there's like a sluiceway so they can pond the water in Fay Park. It works its way through the site and eventually comes to a catch basin out on Foster Street. We worked with Jim Clyde from the Highway Department to look at different alternatives. What we have come up with is we still need to maintain the hydraulic connection from Fay Park to the catch basin, so we're reworking it around the front of the site. And what that enables us to do is separate out that flow so that right now it gets flushed through the catch basins. So if there's sediment in the catch basin, it can resuspend it with turbulence and flush it through. So allow the catch basins on site to stay settled. We're also going catch basin to manhole and not catch basins in series, which will also help. The other piece of drainage that we have to address is from the abutters. So we're bringing a direct line through the back of the site, picking up abutters drainage. I guess they have interceptor drain, a foundation drain, and a yard catch basin because they have a trapped area. So we are honoring their drainage and bringing it up front. We have a catch basin here which will help top off the fire cistern that the chief mentioned, so that they can practice with a dry hydrant. That will overflow into the drainage system in the event that they recharge more than what was there. So all the drainage will be coming through the front. We're adding the eliminator, which is an oil and grease trap on all of them. So we're getting some improvement with the water quality. The couple of other key things we're doing is we've shown a snow storage area out and back where the snow gets plowed now. And behind that, we're creating a grass swale. This will give us an opportunity to let some of the sediments from melting snow settle out. We also are proposing a roof recharge area in the front of the station to capture little over a third of the roof area to get recharged. When you look at all the drainage numbers, it shows that we have a decrease in runoff. It's very minimal, but I think the more important thing is we're trying to encourage recharge where it is reasonable with clean water versus what we have currently on site. The other thing we're doing is there are floor drains in the apparatus bays. Right now, the water just sort of, if water drips off the trucks, it flows out the bay door. The floor drains will all be connected to a holding tank. So that water will be collected. It's a double-walled holding tank with alarms, and when it fills up, it'll be pumped off and taken off-site. So there'll be no connection to either surface or groundwater from anything dripping in the garage bays. We also went through, in terms of the Water Resource Protection District, the one main increase that we're changing to the site is with the generator, which is located in the back of the building. We're required to have an independent fuel source. So this generator will have what they call a belly tank. It's the fuel tank right below the generator itself. For up to 1,000 gallons of fuel, it's 48 hours required. That tank will be double-walled. It'll have a drip pan to capture it. It'll have alarms if anything enters into that overflow. And it'll have all the environmental precautions that this board normally would require of any type of fuel tank. So that would be the generator. The other thing we're doing is we've got bollards all around it so no one can accidentally back into it and jar it. Other utilities are being upgraded. We're upgrading the water line in Wilderness Road. Right now there's a 6-inch asbestos, and we will be upgrading it to the ductile iron, and that'll also improve water quality. And that's where we will be getting the fire flows for the fire station. Domestic water will be coming in off of Foster Street, as will the gas and electric. That covers the site sort of in a nutshell, if anybody has more specific questions.
So there's a line that runs along the back perimeter. It's kind of a horseshoe-shaped line. What is that?
That is the, in the grass swale area,
Yeah.
our concern was if snow blocked that swale, we wanted to make sure that we could capture the overflow and bring it around to the drainage area. So it's a sub-drain where we've heard that there's water
Yep.
leading out of the hill, but also in the event that the swale gets blocked.
Like a French drain?
Yes.
Okay. Very good, recap.
Chief, when looking at the impervious area around the new fire station, there was no, I understand you need the asphalt for the apparatus. Is there no place that you can decrease some of this impervious area just so that we can get some more recharge into the surface?
Not in trying to maintain the parking. We actually reduced some of the parking in the back already to do that. And the one area that we did increase the grass surface was along this area where we currently have the parking for the call members. We're eliminating all of the parking for the call members, and we actually bumped out the grass surface here about 20 feet, so that it more than doubled the current island that's there now coming into the building. So that will just remain as two-way traffic in and out on that side. So that was the bit larger spot that we were able to increase, and then it was also a change up here. But in relative to the whole site and trying to maintain some of the parking, we're only able to reduce it by that 1%.
And see, they did it in the right spot, because from the street view, you're gonna have more green area. And that's it, that's the concept that we're trying to get to these days.
And if you, and I apologize, I forgot to mention, over on the side by Wilderness, which is currently a sea of pavement, what we've got is flag poles in an area for a monument. We don't know what the monument's going to be at this time, a bike rack, so it's sort of a quieter area, whereas right now there's currently parking.
Yeah, so in line with what we've tried to do down in the village center with the green up the front and pedestrian friendly up the front and the parking in the back, this fits right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
What is the impact of this going to be on the church across the way? I mean, you've got 5 spaces, but How many spaces does the church currently use?
We have 25 extra spaces in the back. And how many are used by the church? We know there are people using it on the side. I don't know how many people go further back.
Currently, there are 20 spaces on the side lot. So it increases that by 5. When the police station used to be there, that was all police parking. So the general parking overall, it'll add 5 more to the 20 on top of the space that's on each side of the Historical Society and up and down the road.
Are they gonna be able to get to those spaces in the back?
We have a sidewalk coming down the side, and they would just have to walk across.
Just not during construction.
Yeah.
In seeing this, I see that the reserve parking is closer to the station, and being healthy firefighters, I can see that you could give these spaces, the reserve parking, to the public and maybe move the municipal parking or staff parking.
I think
To a
you have
different
to keep
location?
in mind, it's not necessarily, it's more time than distance.
It's
That's
not
just
not
what it
even
costs.
that. The reason that we decided to keep these reserved for the call members to come in is this is in front of all of the apparatus bay. So
Right.
emergency apparatus will be coming and going there. If there are trucks out, we
Good
didn't
point.
want the public to park in
Yep.
that space.
Great point.
And they'd potentially get stuck in there if they had to, or just to simply reduce the risk of
Okay.
responding apparatus.
Great point. Thank you.
So let him do it, 'cause he's worked at it so long. If you'd like, we'll take a minute and go through the building, so you can.
Can the public ask questions?
Public input.
Yeah, let's,
Is there anybody else from the board?
I'm good for right now.
this is, well done. I'd say we open it to the public for.
You don't want the
Lisa's
building
side.
floor plan, or are you good on that?
Well, let's see if,
Okay, that's fine.
Did you consider propane or natural gas rather than storing diesel fuel on site? There's a natural gas line right on the street.
It has to be an independent fuel source, because a natural gas line could be interrupted if, say, we had an earthquake or a major accident somewhere and it broke a gas line.
Did
They
you
have to
consider a
do that.
propane? Did you consider a propane tank storage versus diesel fuel? Diesel fuel is much more toxic than propane gas.
That's a recommendation through the NFPA, and for us to remain compliant as a backup emergency operations center, that's one of the requirements for the facility. One of the things that we are doing with this facility is we're the last town building that currently uses oil. We have a 275-gallon tank out back and 2 additional tanks down in the basement. We'll be eliminating all of that and changing over to natural gas for the facility.
Yeah.
And, but just for for that generator out back, that's the requirement to become compliant for an emergency operations center.
Yeah, we did the same with the police station. I'm on the building committee, the diesel, and we did the same with the Russell Street School. And that's a couple of reasons, because the diesel, you can have a much smaller generator. If you go with gas, you have to almost double the size of the generator, and almost double the size of the cost. These generator costs, this will probably cost upwards of 100, maybe 125,000, so you double that. The other benefit by having the diesel is the town has its own diesel pump. So in addition to this being a 48-hour supply, if it put down for longer than that, well, we just go to the town yard and get more diesel. You can't go to town yard and get more petrol gas or bottled gas.
And as Sue said, it is a double-walled tank, and it has 110% containment. So, if there were ever a leak, it would stay within its confines.
And it also has an alarm system, so you're not counting on somebody checking it weekly. It's got the alarm, and the
Yeah.
alarm will periodically
Read his name for the
be
record.
tested to make sure that it's working.
Yeah, my name is Larry Barstow. I live across the street at 23 Foster Street.
Larry, thank you.
Barstow.
Great question, by the way. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other questions from the populace?
All right, next.
I will briefly go over the building plans, just because I know you have a lot of other.
Yeah, you're 10
stuff
minutes
on your-
past your time, my dear.
You want me to just flip through them, or do you want me to show them?
Flip them.
All right, I'll flip them. All right. So
Reader's Digest.
this is the first floor. So this is the existing station. It's used mostly for public fire prevention, administrative type things. The apparatus bays are the main body back here. The training tower. We have a carport in the middle of the building, which is where they'll put their specialty trailers undercover. We have, in the back of the existing apparatus bay is where we'll have administrative offices. The garage in front is gonna, the bays in front will remain and will probably be like the chief's vehicles and smaller vehicles.
Oh, Sue, what is the
Chief
big
gets to
space?
park indoors?
It'll be for the utility vehicles, the boat, the
Yep.
ATV.
Yep,
What is the big space?
You've got
at
an
the bottom
ATV?
right?
the bottom right is.
How many?
Huh?
Yeah, that's.
That is a meeting and training room.
Okay, is that gonna be a public?
Nothing's free.
It is, it's a public room, it's a public training space that'll accommodate about 48 people. It'll have all the same features in here, it'll have camera, audio, cable TV also has their own room in there, so they'll be able to do
watch the
recordings and have it broadcast live.
The neighborhood could use that for them.
It'll be open to other organizations,
We can move our meetings over there.
if it makes you happy.
And the second one is just the upstairs, which shows bunk rooms for the firefighters. Can't read it upside down. Day room, fitness room, kitchen, basically staff area.
Fitness room? What's in the fitness room?
Fitness stuff.
That's why you got a training tower, you can carry each other up and down them stairs.
We'll do that too.
And then we have the architect's renderings of the building.
Oh, yeah, there's the conference room in the front. This
the
lower,
little one.
yeah. And the
Any
tower
other
in the
questions,
back.
so we can move this on?
No, it
You need-
looks
What do we
good.
need to adjust?
Okay, I gave you a draft decision. My only question was make sure that I had the details of the generator, and Sue and Scott sent those over, so I'm good. But you would need to close the hearing and vote on the Water Resource District Special Permit application and the site plan.
So do we need a movement to close the hearing, or
I'll
just?
make a motion to close the hearing.
Does anybody else have any questions, or is
We
there any
already
questions
asked.
from
Why,
the
you
audience?
any more questions?
No.
No, we're running late, so we're gonna get moving.
All right, then I'm-
Second it.
All right, all those in favor of closing the meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, we're opening the,
Vote on the site.
vote on the site plan?
I'll make a motion to vote on the site plan as proposed. My questions were answered, so.
Second.
Second it?
No discussion?
those in
Yeah,
favor?
I'm-
Huh?
No discussion from me, I'm good.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The only
I'd
thing,
like- Okay.
the one thing as far as the, this is pretty much very similar to what we had done with,
Boilerplate.
yeah, the deck building or whatever. We'll have all the safety mechanism in store, any,
No sodium de-icing, yeah, it's all in there, groundwater quality monitoring.
Well, that's for the, we gotta vote on the Water Resource District Special Permit.
That's what we're voting
all
on.
right,
It's a
second,
separate vote.
all right?
Yeah.
Ready for the second vote?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Water Resource District Special Permit as proposed.
All those, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sue
Thank you,
and
Chief.
Scott, you did a great job. And Chief,
Okay. Really know what to do with it. Wellington Drive updates.
Please do.
You're jumping ahead. Now we're. Chief, are you gonna be sticking around for a little bit?
Good evening. My name's Ian Rubin. Here to address where we are at this point with Weddington Drive. We've had one round of review and revisions to the plan, and we sat down and had a final discussion on a few outstanding items. I don't know how far you want me to go. I can quickly tell you what those outstanding items are. Number one is just a note added to the plan requiring that all the trees shown will not be removed, because it isn't clear as to why those trees are on there, I suppose. We have no intention of taking down any of those trees. I can show you on the plan if you want to, if those are alongside Wellington Drive, basically to the southern side of it. The site plan shows like, I can go over there. Okay, that's all these trees over here that are shown on the plan. Those are all the existing trees, and the intentions were to show those and add in additional trees where they're missing. So, and there's enough room there to put the road in without removing any. So the question already came up as to which of those trees were going to be removed. The answer is none.
And those are marked on that print right there?
That's marked on this print, correct?
Yes?
We are just requesting that a note be added that identifies that the trees shown on this location, the trees shown on this plan are to remain.
Okay.
Okay.
That satisfies that one to your?
Another outstanding item at this point is the island. The way that I put the island on there, basically I put it on the cul-de-sac that was slanted in one direction, and Luke came up with the question as to do we want sheet flow or do we want it to go to the gutter? And to go to the gutter, what I'd have to do is raise that island a little bit, and that's one small change I can make without a problem.
Can I ask a question, Peter?
Sure.
The island is going to be sodded. Have you considered using pavers so that it's still it's the same shape as an island, but it can be, if a fire truck and emergency vehicles came in, they can maneuver around there very easily.
In other words, without a berm?
Without no berm, just flat but distinct.
Porous paving or porous?
Some sort of paving to
Yeah, something
make it
that's porous.
distinctive from the asphalt.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Do any of the board members have any objection to that?
That porous paving lasts about 2 years anyway.
No, but not porous paving,
No.
but
I know what you're talking about.
Any kind of paving.
Installed
yeah, so porous block.
pavers, like block systems.
Yeah.
That have the openings in between them.
Any
They
kind
even
of
have the
paver.
ones that you can grass in that'll still
Without,
accept the water.
and without a berm.
Right,
And raise it a bit so that it does slant to the sides.
you can.
Yeah, and then it allows for the apparatus of any type to traverse that area.
All right, do
At the corner, you mean? Would it be plowed completely in the winter, if you got a level surface with the pavement?
yeah, you could keep it right
Is
level.
that something that sounds
make it-
feasible, or is that a foolish statement?
Make life easier for Jimmy.
But Jimmy's not gonna plow,
Oh,
it's a
it's a
private
private
road.
road.
But I don't think you need, you
Jimmy
just
doesn't
gotta,
want this
you
road.
can leave it unplowed, I mean.
Well, my intention would be to flatten it out with the rest of the road so that it would be fully accessible by emergency vehicles.
So to
Yeah.
plow it would make sense.
Okay.
You'd still have your
Oh, hang on now,
your radius.
hang on.
Just to point out, they did demonstrate that a fire apparatus,
Can make that.
can
Oh,
make
I know.
that
Yeah.
turning movement.
Right.
And that center island in cul-de-sac bulbs it's a typical, I believe it's, off the top of my head, I believe it's a requirement in the subdivision regs that it should be provided where it can be.
Yes, and it would be, but it would be installed in some sort of paver system.
Right,
is
yeah,
what I'm
and I guess
suggesting.
if it were that, I mean, you'd want to, like you guys are discussing, pavers, but there's kind of a wide range of sort of permeability that you can be using, if you're just using standard pavers that have
The geo-
openings in between.
Like a
that-
geoblock system. where the
Well, the
grass
issue
may
is,
come
if it's
through.
grass, then the entire area is pervious. If we start putting
Yeah.
concrete into it in any way, shape, or form, we're diminishing its
But if you were to do something like, like those, like sort of those grasscrete, I think that's
Yeah.
probably similar to what you're talking about.
Exactly.
That's, that provides the structure, but is, I would say probably 50% grass area, and those hold up pretty well too.
As long as you compact the hell out of the bottom of them and grade them and do
But it
everything.
might be a matter of, are you going to plow that? Is that going to be plowed in the winter? I mean, because essentially it's going to have grass.
Yes, and you could plow it in the way. See, I would like to see that, but we have a hand up. Chief,
Geez, thanks, Richie. I wasn't sure I saw that. But thank you. Mr. Wazinski.
The only comment I'd have to that, the impervious surfaces sound great. The original plan was entirely paved, so there was an ease of access for that, the cul-de-sac in there. With the last proposal that I've seen, with that island in there, there would have to be something put into place so there's absolutely no on-street parking, because you will not get a piece of apparatus around that island if there is anybody parked in that cul-de-sac. By at least allowing that impervious surface in the middle, we'd be able to go right over it, if need be, to gain access to any of the driveways that are in there,
But even
especially.
still, you can't have parking there primarily, correct?
Right.
Okay, so if the rest of the board doesn't have any objection, I'd like to see that done.
Well, I'd like to see exactly what they're gonna use.
They can submit it.
All right, so,
Okay,
or it goes to its original state of being paved and it's 100%, correct? Because that's how you did your test. Your back wheels rolling on the inside, correct?
They still do make the radius with the island.
Yeah.
However, there is no space for error,
There's no
especially
play.
in the winter. If it's a significant snowfall, it'll be very snow.
that's right. Won't be if we put this geograding
Correct. Or if it's
and plow
entirely
it.
paved.
Yeah. Okay?
All right, so if you'd like to think about doing something in the middle of it, and again, the exterior of it has to be at least 16 feet, the pavement, whatever the size is, we need to
We
look
have it on
at.
here. That's actually 22 feet.
Is the width, is each,
That's 22 feet.
okay, so the total diameter is what? Just out of hate, guess,
Uh,
22, 44,
Total
about
diameter,
80 feet?
I have to look at it. It's about
It makes it,
something
right?
like 120 feet or something. JJ, do you remember? 120.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And here's the actual fire truck, as you can see, it would go around.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll go with the geograde system.
My only concern that we can just add this is, I mean, I don't know how many more meetings we're gonna have to come to. We have to still have another open hearing on this, or?
Let's see how this goes.
Okay, that's fine. The next issue is, the last issue is still to be added, is regarding signs to be installed along Goldsmith Street during construction. And I can add that to the plans without a problem.
All right. Where's he
Okay.
skipped though?
Before we get off that page, I got another
Yeah, where's
question.
he,
Hang
where'd
on
he
a
skip
second, hang on
over?
a second, I'm already, no, I'm gone too far here.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Those two issues are applicant revise the plans, the trees, right, that's that. There was only those two issues, and then there's the issue about the trail,
Yes.
and that I've got to add to the plan, there's room for that. As we discussed way in the beginning of this, as to where the trail was going to go, basically you can see he has a strip down here, and it would come up and then onto Wellington Street,
That's
Onto
correct.
Wellington Street?
onto Wellington Street,
And we have
all along the
sidewalks.
shoulder of Wellington Street.
Yeah, and we have sidewalks on Wellington Street.
Sorry?
We have,
We don't.
do we,
We haven't,
No,
we
that's
haven't
it.
waived the sidewalks to Wellington
So-
Street. We have not waived them, correct?
Not required for this
It's not required.
Not
cross-section?
required, but we haven't waived it entirely yet. There's still some
Not
discussion.
required, and then, so what he's showing here on this drawing is that
Yeah.
it's the width for the apparatus.
Yeah.
The sidewalk issue is one of the waivers. So, and we'll go with that in a minute.
The next well, I got a question for you, does anybody know whether a school bus is actually gonna drive down there and pick kids up? Are kids walking up to Newtown? Jim, please.
My understanding, if it's a private road, they will not go down it.
All right, so now we got kids walking down the street that's,
So my recommendation would be when they're working on the path that goes over to Cooper, that path be maintained all the way the length of Wellington Drive down to Goldsmith.
In other words,
summer,
you talk-
winter, throughout the winter.
So I think the path was gonna be recommended to be made of stone dust.
Okay.
So we will have a footpath, some
Footpath, so,
4 feet wide at minimum.
I think they got
Your
6 feet.
regulation subdivision regs require 5 feet
5 feet, and, yeah, then,
for a sidewalk,
for path.
yeah,
footpath,
we'll do 5.
okay.
From Goldsmith Street straight to the abutters lot behind you. Okay?
Yes.
And
As far as maintaining of it, Richie, I'd prefer to see it maintained in the winter, basically the full length of Wellington. Once it gets past that or whatever, I don't think it's
Yeah.
really a responsibility of you to maintain it further back through into
So that
the,
would have to be in the covenant, right, for the,
Right, so that'll be the decision.
And the last thing is, I didn't see a parking space, not any parking space at the circle. Will it be
No.
off-circle parking?
yeah, you park in the middle on the geogrid.
No.
I thought
not
we
according to
talked-
the fire department, you can't.
No, I thought we talked about having at least one vehicle access there.
No, the only way we could have parking there at this point is if we're gonna put a porous surface there, they can park on that on the so-called island.
Not on the island, you can't
Yeah.
park on the island.
Well, there's nowhere else to park there, really.
There will be need to have signage out there that says no parking in, on Wellington Drive in any portion of it. That would suffice a lot of these issues, right?
Why is there no room
Sign
for
doesn't mean anything.
a single spot, maybe made out of geogrid?
That's the,
It's a slope.
Well,
What good's an open space plan if you can't access it?
Yeah.
what about at the beginning of it?
Think about where that single car could park.
Why just one? What if up by the left-hand side as you're entering in off of Goldsmith? On the left-hand side, it's
That's a lot.
relatively level up there, right?
this thing?
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that's a separate
The
lot?
property's right here.
Yeah.
That's the property line right there.
Oh, right on the edge?
You can go to the right side.
This,
Okay.
and this is actually part of lot 1 over here. And that's where we're keeping the trees over here.
There was some discussion about a fence of some sort also, wasn't there?
There's a retaining wall.
I
that's
mean,
going-
Yeah, we gotta go with-
we could possibly put a parking right here.
Yeah, see if we can get 1 or 2 spots someplace off the road for a
All right, so
car
you
or bike that somebody could, the public can actually get to access that.
so this
pathway.
this walkway is actually going to be a separate entity from Wellington Drive. It's not going to be just simply where we have you now with a 16-foot driveway, is that what we got entering, or 20-foot?
This is 20-foot paved.
Right, with a apron on both sides, correct?
Compacted gravel on both sides for the width of the apparatus, so.
Is something we discussed.
He's
that,
meeting
so-
it at 20 feet, though.
Right, but he said Richie wanted a little wider for,
Well, I think the original proposal was 16 feet.
right, so we went to the 20,
We
I'm
went
sorry.
with 20, so.
Yeah.
But on that left side, though, there's not going to be a lot of room to have both the road in and that 5 foot of space. Is there room on the left-hand side? Yeah, right there. Continue.
Yeah, there's also trees there. I mean, that was never really been considered to have a walkway along the shoulder. The walkway was simply going to start here to have access to the back land. That's all that was for.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I talked about parking, 1 or 2 spots.
I mean,
Well, regardless of the parking-
Parking is not a problem to put parking right up next to the street here. I don't have any concern with that. I think, though, that considering the fact that we have very little traffic going down here, people could walk down that private road. There's only 5 houses here, that's it.
Yeah,
And then from there, they go on a trail wherever they want to go.
that's right. Well, the trail that you'll create will take them to the back end of the property on the,
Over to Cooper.
over to the Cooper's land.
Yes.
Okay, and that's
and then they'll continue it on.
Here's
That's the-
Cooper right here.
Yeah, that's the trail,
So the trail would go all the way up, down to there.
and that's the trail that you will create as part of this project.
Right. But the trail would start basically over here.
That's okay, so long as.
No, it ain't okay.
But it's gotta get to the street, it's gotta get to Goldsmith Street.
Then they walk along Wellington Drive.
We just
On
had a
the drive, it's gotta-
conversation about,
If we're gonna put a trail here, then they can't put trees in that, on that shoulder.
Right.
Can you go around the trees with the trail? You know, it's a footpath.
I mean, they could, but it's a bit of a squeeze. I mean,
I'd rather see you go off it with a 5-foot wide, I don't care if you hill and dale around the trees, it's
no problem.
hunky-dory for
We'll do
me.
that then.
All right.
Okay.
If you don't wanna come back again, we gotta make sure we
That's fine.
understand
That's
each
fine.
other.
We can put the walkway on and just make sure that
So
they go around the trees. I mean,
we'll put, and you'll make it the 5 feet width, and it'll go all the way through. And you'll give
Okay.
us 2 parking spaces up by the street, Goldsmith Street.
Steve, any comment?
Geo agreed, Okay.
Okay, then we get on to the waivers.
Yep.
And let me just give you a little bit of background to those waivers. I mean, when we originally discussed the waivers, we hadn't really done the full design. And then going through the full design and going through every subdivision rule, I realized there are some technical waivers that we need to request. And so I want to just go through those quickly. The first one is cross-section cuts, cross-section drawn every 50 feet on the site plan. The purpose of providing sections is essentially to calculate volumes of cut and fill. With computer software, it becomes unnecessary, and we therefore request a waiver providing of not providing the sections as required in the regulations. From the peer review, the recommendation was to at least provide one section approximately at station 375, which we did. So that's where we are. And the comment from Green International was, the applicant has revised the plans to provide the requested cross-section. We take no exception to the applicant's request for this waiver.
So just hoping for your input on that request.
In other words, those sections, I mean, you understand what I'm talking
Yes,
about, those
yes, yeah.
sections? I can show you the one that we've drawn. And here's a typical road section right there. And to have one of those every 50 feet, I mean, that's what you would use to calculate volumes.
We just requested it at that particular location because that was where the off-grading for the slope went into the adjacent property. So we requested it there, we thought that that was an important one, and they provided that.
All right, you're good?
Yeah, I don't.
Should we address each one as it comes, is the easiest thing to do? And-
Sure, that should make it go pretty quick.
And make a motion to grant the waiver for the cross-section to be at, give me the numbers again,
375.
375.
Those in favor? Or second?
I'll second that.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
That's
Next
just-
one, construction management plans are required with definitive subdivision. My argument was, since only routes to I-95 from the site of the subdivision are via, this is, we're talking about construction management and the trips during construction. The routes are very limited on this site, and to get to I-95, I-495, there's basically only 2 ways from Goldsmith Street. You can go south or north. So, however, from peer review, they recommended that at least we should show signs along Goldsmith Street during construction, and I can add that part.
Make a motion that signs be placed on Goldsmith Streets, both south and north, stating construction site ahead.
Second.
Second, I heard motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Place them then, please.
The next waiver, oh, we all set? Yeah. The next waiver, cost estimate provided for all construction costs. Well, I did put a cost estimate together. However, according to the rules and regulations, it should conform to Massachusetts Highway Department standard specifications for highway and bridges. I didn't go through that specifically. The costs I got were from proposals that were given for this project, and basically I adjusted those costs by 25% for safety and inflation. In fact, that is a requirement in the regulations. So the waiver I'm requesting here is, instead of conforming to Massachusetts highway standards, on a more practical sense as to what proposals were out there, that's what I used.
In reality, if we need to put a bond in place, so we'll go through that calculation again and have it reviewed by Green at the time.
James?
I was gonna say, the issue with using the Mass DOT specs is if the town has to build the road to finish it, you have to do it at prevailing wage, which is Mass DOT rates. That's why those are used. We can't use a local developer with what
His numbers. Okay. Well, then
But you can waive it for the application piece of it.
Still gonna have to come
Still
with a
require
bond.
it for a bond.
Okay.
So you'll go through that discussion another time.
All right. We skipped a few on the way? You good with?
Well, you might have to flip through a couple just real quick.
All right. If you don't mind, I'd like to go, I think we,
If you want to, we're still going through the.
well, I want to go back to the ones that we've skipped up to this point.
Yeah, I want to make sure we hit every one of these.
Because,
Non-waiver items?
We haven't skipped any waiver items.
All right.
all right, then. All
Okay,
right,
so we
keep going with the waivers, I'm sorry.
Okay, there are basically two more waivers to request. One of the.
Did we make a motion on that last waiver? I don't think we
we
did.
did not. Yeah.
It doesn't require
So-
one because it doesn't matter till they come
Well,
before.
we have to grant the waiver so we can grant the permit, and then they still have to do the Mass DOT for the bond. So I'll make a motion to grant the waiver request for not to use the scale Mass DOT weighted average unit bid.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We got a unanimous here?
Yeah, you got an unanimous on that one.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, the next one is the width of the pavement. And basically, this waiver was originally granted at the approval of the subdivision. What I had mentioned at the time, we're also requesting a waiver for the bituminous berm instead of granite curbing. Although that never really went down as an issue discussed or anything, and it didn't come up as an approved waiver. So technically, I have to request that waiver. And that is what we're proposing. So,
So,
Well, the part about this I don't like is if this ever turns into a town road, and somehow the homeowners petition, it'll have to be brought up to, division standards, correct? So, where do we stand with that, Jim? What do you think I'm pushing for granite curbs or wherever possible as far as for the long run of the longevity of the roads in town for, looking ahead as our master plan is being created. I don't want to have to come back and replace granite, or not granite, but
bituminous.
bituminous. So that's my opinion, and that's just where I'm going to stand, and is every option I get, I'm going to be pushing for granite curbs. So,
What about
If somebody-
granite curbing on the bends, on the roundings?
Well, your whole street's round. so-
yeah.
You want the whole street?
No, you said your whole street's round, so you get the two front, you get the
Well,
entrance.
Yeah, except actually at the entrance.
That's what you're talking about, where the plows come in,
Yeah,
and do
yeah,
most damage.
yeah.
well, I don't
What
want
did we
to
do with
I
Durkey?
could-
Was there a discussion with Durkey? I want to
Yeah,
go back.
there was a lot of trade-off with Turkey, so Turkey's not, I would be okay with vertical granite up until about 20 feet in, and then slope granite the rest of the way. slope granite holds up pretty well. Peter?
Is it, did the slope granite work? Jim, are you happy enough with that, or?
Well, I guess,
Again, I'm not putting you on the spot, all I want you to do is tell me what you think is a fair assessment, and go
he
ahead.
said something about a reduced pavement width too.
He's at 20 feet, that's what they're paving now.
Correct.
And they're giving some, well, there's the other thing, if he's giving us, didn't you ask for the berms on both sides? They're not bermed, but that's kind of foolish, isn't it?
There's
What's
gonna be a
that,
walking path on one side, we've got trees that we need to maintain, got a 20-foot wide paved road, a 5-foot path. Just trying to figure out how you put
It's a
all
nip
that.
and tuck.
Do you do 20 feet, do you 20 feet at the entrance on each
We
side?
used to grant the greater curb waivers, most of the subdivisions.
We used to.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna, I just look at it that it's gonna be, and I'm looking for the long term.
Well, the long term is vertical granite. That's,
If it's gonna be built as a private road, can you put it in the decision that it's a private road, and if
In
at
perpetuity.
such time you wanna accept it as a town road, it'll be done to subdivision standards at that time?
And
You
then,
want to-
the problem with that is then it becomes the residents who have to bear the burden of it.
Well, but they would,
Correct.
the
pay
current
for it
policy
now.
is that they would now.
Yeah.
If they wanted to petition for it to be a townway, they would have to do the upgrades first.
Right, see, right now, they're gonna be able to, the homeowner buying the house is gonna incur the cost of it. Obviously, the cost will go up if they're putting granite curbs in.
Right.
So
So,
you'd like to see that, but then again, it's hard telling, not knowing.
see, our subdivision rules require vertical granite
Correct.
curbing. So that's where we start.
And once again, they're not a.
And is there any bona
We're
fide
way
reason
the hell
not to back off from?
Well, the only reason we're requesting this because it's private, so that's the question.
Yeah, but it doesn't, is there any benefit to the longevity, or is there any benefit to the
Financial
future
situation, that's
residents? Or is there any benefit to the town by backing off from the vertical granite?
We're gonna do it
If I
here, we're
may.
gonna do it everywhere.
That's what
Oh,
I'm telling you, I
yeah,
wanna,
okay.
I wanna
Right,
put the stick in the snow.
Peter?
It's not required, or it hasn't been required, I mean, they just did New Estate Road, it wasn't required. Listen, I would love to see granite throughout the whole thing.
So there you go,
But-
you'd like to
all
see
right,
it.
But I'd like to see it throughout the entire town and not just for my subdivision.
Well, that's what, that we see,
Right,
and
if
I'm not
that's
looking
where it's
at,
gonna start, then, you know, I wanna make sure that that follows through.
that's a
So,
good.
you know, but I like it. I mean, personally, I like it. I think it makes sense. So-
I just think if we do it now.
Then
and
you
again,
should do it.
And that there, yeah, that it's, I don't have a problem starting, setting a precedence, I really don't. I don't like going by and seeing the curbs, all the asphalt, the Cape Cod ones ripped to shreds, and, and in the long term, it saves the town money.
I'm very much in favor of vertical curbing, granite
Well,
curbing.
we like it too, but the reality is it's extremely expensive, and I don't want it just to be us. You know, I mean, if we're gonna do this for the town, or if
Yeah.
you're gonna do this for the town, I'd like to see it consistent. That's only my opinion. I agree with you,
And-
Mr.
and
Scott.
That's where I'm gonna stand going forward.
Okay.
Joe?
Well, Mr. Marsh is bringing up New Estate Road, which is over a mile long, so times 2 miles of granite curb, there's no way the town can afford to do that, and that's what he's saying. If you're gonna make him do it, you're gonna make our roads that we rebuild do it. So you're just saying that we're never gonna rebuild the roads in this town, because we can't afford to do that.
yeah, but your jurisdiction is the new subdivision roadways, not reconstruction of
Well,
existing.
if that road had been built originally with the granite, we wouldn't be talking about that now, would we?
Yeah, because it would have been.
The road would have never been built because nobody was doing granite when that road was put in.
We were doing
No, our
granite since 1770.
jurisdiction,
Not out here, they
starts and stops with this.
And the same with Jerky, I mean, Jerky Farm also. So, that was waived.
Jerky Farm was a different thing, that we.
Sure, I understand that, but it's still
Well,
a
it isn't, it
subdivision,
shouldn't
you know,
have
but, I mean,
All right, can we go, can we shelf this for a little while?
No, you can vote on it, because we're good with it. So, I mean, if you want it to be granted, we're good with that. And we realize the expense, but we think that this particular subdivision will be probably a premier subdivision
Yeah.
in town, and we, I think that it can be absorbed, that cost,
I'm-
because what we're gonna do down there. So, but we would like to see it too, that's only my
Yeah.
opinion. I'd like to see it also, and I agree with Mr. Clyde, because I did have this discussion with him.
I'm very much in favor
Picking
of granite
projects.
curbing going forward with all our subdivisions. It's in our subdivision rules.
I'm not looking to put you on the hook.
No, I
I'm
mean,
not.
if it's a private road, it's a private road, it has nothing to do with me, but now I'm thinking, you go to the expense of putting in vertical granite curbing, it's gonna look beautiful, and then you're gonna have a stone dust path that's gonna have all weeds and stuff in it, it's gonna look terrible next to it. I mean, you're doing one thing and then going backwards on another thing. It
Well, at
just,
some point in time, nature's gonna take over. I mean, what are we supposed to do? I mean, it's,
Our subdivision rules require sidewalks, 5-foot wide concrete sidewalks. And
there's another one.
I'm not, I can waive that in my mind. I mean, we waive it. We go bituminous.
I think the issue is when we waved the granite curbing back in the old days, back the other subdivision, we did it when there was a benefit to the town, like if we were doing an open space and we got walking trails instead of granite curbing, we saw a benefit to spend the money somewhere else. So
We're getting that here.
then give them the waiver.
But the thing is, we're not
That's-
doing sidewalks.
No. But what,
That's a big
I
waiver.
question how much benefit we get, but if you think we're getting a benefit from it, then give them the waiver.
Yeah, no, I think
Granite
Well,
curbing.
up
Are
front-
we getting a
granite-
benefit with the open space plan?
Yeah.
that's already been predetermined. That's already,
Then give them the waiver, because we got something for it.
I wouldn't, not on this, because we gave the sidewalks away.
sir?
Yes, I was waiting
Name,
for the...
please?
Jerry Cavallo, 8 Uplands Road. I represent the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. We have several members here tonight.
Oh,
I
good.
wanted to wait to the end, but what we have to comment about is about what you're talking about right now. I really appreciate the emphasis you're putting on sidewalks, and we just have a little more to add to that. What we were looking for is more of a transportation connection between the Cooper Farm and Goldsmith Street.
Yeah.
What we were looking for was a bicycle, for bicycle and pedestrians, a bicycle pathway between those two that would connect, of course, the Cooper Farm and the people there, and the people on Wellington Drive would have now access all the way through to 119. And we were looking for a 6-foot wide paved bicycle path. Now, we don't see this as a destination that we would necessarily need parking spaces for. This is for the benefit of the local residents, so people from Goldsmith Street can go out to 119 and go down to Donlands, or people who are in Cooper Farm, it's too busy of a road for their kids, can cut through and go to that nice sidewalk on Goldsmith Street. So we're really looking for a 6-foot wide paved, so we don't get the weeds growing up after a year, that would benefit the local people. So when we're looking at trade-offs, we also don't have a problem with the bicycles and pedestrians going on a small cul-de-sac like that. A sidewalk wouldn't necessarily be a requirement when there's only a couple of houses there. So the main thing is 6-foot wide going all the way up to the Cooper Farm, and then we're going to work with them to go all the way up to 119, and then get the access to Goldsmith Street.
Have you had a conversation with the developer of Wellington Drive on this subject at all?
I have not. I wanted to approach the board first, see if
Okay.
you guys were, and ladies were interested in
Mind if I
such a
address
thing.
Steve Marsh?
What do you mean, right now?
Yeah, I just want to ask him what his thoughts are on that.
Sure.
Steve, would you mind making a comment on that? Would you be, if we were to waive the granite curbing, would you be open to doing a 6-foot wide bike path?
Here's the issue, we have to go through wetlands,
Mhm.
so having it paved would be something that we, in addition to which, the Conservation Commission has made it clear that we have to yank up the culvert pipes that connect the Cooper Farm to us. So unless you're doing mountain biking or, walking trails, I've worked with people over the trail, I don't know this gentleman, but I've worked with, I've worked with a number of them over the years, and it makes sense. But there are a number of ways in there as well. I mean, from Cooper, you can go down Oak Street. We would welcome it. We think that it would be an asset. So that helps everybody. So we're not opposed to it. I don't think we can provide them with 6-foot paved because of the constrictions with Conscom. I already have an order of conditions anyway with them.
Okay.
So to go back to them, not that it's impossible, because we certainly could, but it's unlikely, because there already is a road that goes back there. You'd have to talk to the Cooper people to see if they're amenable to this, but we would certainly go up to the piece with them. It's a great piece of property back there. I know that everybody thinks it's not a big benefit, but if, this particular board doesn't typically go out and walk pieces of land, and I think they should, because I think then you would get a better appreciation for what's really out there. It really is a wonderful piece, combined with that Cooper piece, and I think the trail people would substantiate that. So,
You ever been there before? Back where he's talking?
Absolutely.
Me too. You?
it's beautiful since we've had to do the reclamation with the conservation.
You ever been back
It's a
there?
wonderful
I have
piece of
not,
property.
but
I was just back there last week, and it is a beautiful piece of property.
Yeah.
I had walked through, so.
But we're not opposed to it, yeah, we certainly.
Right, our subdivision regulations have definitions of paths and bike paths, so those design guidelines are in the subdivision regs. I would recommend that in the wet areas, Amy came up with that alternative surfacing that she thought would probably, the Conservation Commission would agree to. Yes, any work within the buffer would have to go back to the commission, but we can do that. They could do that as a separate filing.
Yeah, I have one little problem, and that is, as soon as we get onto a sidewalk, then we get handicap, has to be handicap access.
It's not a sidewalk, it's a path.
Okay. I mean, as soon as you pave it, and that.
No, so it's
comes
we're
up a
gonna,
little-
it's gonna be a path.
We have a question in the back.
Do we?
Oh, hey, Pete, I just got off.
No, I'm gonna get you off in a few seconds. We'll knock you clean.
I'm Paul
Hearing,
McMahon.
yeah.
I'm from the Elder and Human Services Department. We strongly support the idea of the path running all the way from Goldsmith through the Cooper property down to Great Road. It aligns with what we got in our survey results about people, and especially elderly, really wanting better walking in this town. You can't get around, if you're on Goldsmith, you can't get around to Donnellan's. It's unsafe for people to walk. We have a blind man who lives off Goldsmith. He can't walk to Donnellan's. He's requested that we make more amenable means for people to get there. This is the perfect place for that to happen.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I may, though, there is actually off of Kimlot an access to the backside of Donlands that we did on another project. So, and there's a wonderful piece of property there with huge, beautiful trees that Rick could speak to.
All
So
right, so
there is
now-
a way to do it, and the woods are next to us.
Yeah, we gotta get moving. Last statement, please.
Rick Finley, Conservation
Okay.
Trust.
One second.
Sorry.
Beaverbrook Road. I'm on the Conservation Trust, and I've been working on trails with the master planning group. And in this particular area, I'm hoping that this will be the first stem. And I've been talking with property owners from, including Mr. Moran and Shaker Lane School, and hopefully trying to work a path all the way up, out on Oak Street. And then possibly, as you were saying, we'll try to utilize that conserved property off Kimlock. And
Makes sense.
so what we're trying to do is really make this a walking and biking access. And it's,
All right,
it
good,
seems
thank
to be
you.
falling into
All right,
place.
that's pretty much that. Rich?
How can, this
No, that's
is a
pretty
question
much
for
it.
Steve.
Yeah.
How can we make this into a bike path? What would it take to make this into a bike path?
I really can't answer that. I mean, we can give you the property, designate that area, and then the trail people, the bike people can take it, and I think that they would be willing to do that.
That was gonna be my question. If you were willing to give it to the Trails group, the committee,
You know, we
and,
put an easement in, into the deed, that they have the right to do it and maintain it.
we're gonna get back to Grant.
So they go to your weeds.
But in,
Look, I'd like to shelf this for right now. We're very, very far behind. You had one more statement, I believe?
Yeah, there's actually two waivers we have to do. One is, what we're requesting is HDPE piping instead of concrete piping. And under that same section in the regulations is the hydraulic grade line analysis. The hydraulic grade line analysis is really not necessary, especially considering the small amount of runoff we have going to the drains, and that's already agreed upon the peer review. As far as the HDPE pipes go, as you know, they are, will last probably longer than a concrete pipe, and as long as you conform to the
Proper standards of
manufacturer
filling it, yeah.
standards for
Yeah.
installing it, it shouldn't be a problem. And that's,
Who's going to witness the installation of these things? I mean, you can, I've seen water lines put in where they run over rocks and dirt.
who's going to witness it is the engineer who puts in the as-built to see
In
that
the
it
affidavit that
conforms,
comes
and
with
if
it.
it doesn't conform, they'll have to dig it up.
And
And
the
all they
tenant
have to
pays
do
for
is
it.
to put this in the decision that it has to be included in
You're
the,
running a gas line down there, correct?
we're running a gas line, correct?
Well, it's all well and good as long as, you know,
Right, but we can't,
As long as it's
if there's
done
an
right,
if there's an affidavit and a draw, an as-built.
it's only as good as long as the guy's in business and his insurance company is there. Correct?
So that's
I don't have a problem with you using this stuff. I just want to make sure that,
It's with.
I'd almost like to have someone besides your one man witness it. But I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
Yeah, we are. We can,
request
we can
a
have
third
green.
I'd like to
inspection.
request a third party witness the installation of it, to be honest with you.
Put it in the decision.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
For that, you know,
Sure,
that,
absolutely.
So I'll make a motion that we grant the next two waivers, the hydraulic grade analysis and the installation of HDPE pipe with the amendment that it states that a third party will witness the installation,
and it will be, the cost will be borne by,
the developer.
okay? All right, have we finished that one? We done?
So I made a motion to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
What are we voting on?
That was
Well,
the
we just had
HDPE
it.
pipe.
All the waivers, okay.
Not all of them,
Except
exactly.
for, we haven't,
The
we
sidewalk is the only outstanding issue at this point.
We'll
well,
address
the granite curbing and the sidewalk. We're trying
The
to,
granite
the
curbing.
trade,
We'll put
that's
that
the,
off for now, okay?
that's the
Okay.
only item.
And one thing along with the sidewalk is, you know, if this is gonna be a private road, there has to be, you know, and we discussed this at the meeting last week, is there needs to be some sort of access easement up the private road, because technically, you know, the bike people won't have access up the private road, even if they have an easement through the back property, they wouldn't be able to technically
Right,
have access up.
Right,
onto
that
the
also
road.
applies to the parking.
right. So that'll all be in your
Have
paperwork.
to be addressed, right?
So one item left,
Yep. So 2 items, granite curbing and sidewalk.
but they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Very good. Sorry
Thank
for
you.
the delay. Who's next in line? Thank you, Mr. Markey.
The, Dave, I had a question for Steve before he leaves.
Steve,
Steve, is there any possible way that, when you put in that bike path or that path, that you could do all the prep that needs to be done?
We can get it prepped, yes.
In anticipation of
Yeah, take up
asphalt.
the top of some soil and get it prepped for whatever type of material.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you.
I don't understand why they want to get back to nature and ride bikes on the rest of the American paved.
The bridge they're putting on.
No.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Did you see that? Have you been down through it? That bridge is insane.
You know how much money that's spent on that right there?
$1 million.
No, like 2.5. It's a $6 million bike path
Holy Christ.
for this one here.
There you go, start reading.
Sherry Gould must be in the house.
Oh, yes.
Sherry Gould.
Several new comments, so I just made a quick one in passing. Thank you.
Before we get started, I have filed paperwork with the town that I am related to Matt Field, not to his brother. I'm related to Matt's sister, wife, who's my sister. There we go. If there's anybody has any issues with me being on, hearing any of this or partaking of it, so be it. Say it now, and
I think Matt's the only one that has an issue with it.
do I hear anything from the opponents? Opposers? Nothing? Anybody on the board?
Do you have an issue? I don't have an issue.
Do you have an issue?
It is, I have no money involved in it whatsoever.
Good.
I got nothing, there's money, no interest, no, nothing.
Then let's move on with things.
Of course, I might not have a brother-in-law when it's over with, but anyways, who wants candy?
Is it trick or treat?
Pass it out there.
Nobody?
No.
Lousy throw, that was my fault.
Just
Anybody else? Oh, here's some round things, these are good for throwing.
Peter,
What?
don't do that.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Come on. Look,
You sure?
Peter,
I'll make a better throw.
we're
I'm
wasting
all
time
set.
here. We're wasting time, Peter.
Go ahead, move on.
You're up.
All right. Thank you for seeing us tonight. I'm Jennifer Platt. I'm here on behalf of M&M Realty Trust. Matt Field and Michael Field are the trustees. We have a open space development plan, preliminary plan in front of you tonight. We're looking for input from the board. We've been getting input from the other town boards before we move on with a definitive plan. As you know, we worked with the selectmen for a long period of time to work out a host community agreement whereby the town agreed to waive a right of first refusal on the property so we could start our permitting a little bit sooner. And in exchange for that, the developer has agreed to make a number of gifts to the town, including all the open space that you see on the plan, as well as a number of other accommodations that are highlighted in the host community agreement, including some things which just aren't shown yet because this is a preliminary plan, but there will be, in addition, a walking trail going along the side of the property. The big issues here or the big keys are the open space along Great Road. The first open space is for recreation use. The next is going to be for farming, the next two along the front. And then the biggest parcel in the back is all for open space. Based on some of the input we've gotten already from the other town boards, and you'll see in the notes that you have, you'll see right along the northerly edge of the back open space, 2 large retention ponds. We're going to end up shifting those a little bit so we can make better access for the public into the open space, and we'll have our walking trail easement connect into that open space, so there will be public access. In terms of the development on the parcel, as you'll see, there's 25 single-family homes, as well as 24, 55 and plus in the age-restricted portion in the back. There's one existing dwelling on this property, and that is, as part of the gifts to the town, that is going to be given either to Habitat for Humanity, the Housing Authority, or for some other town purpose as the town sees fit. I've heard perhaps a park and recreation use or a senior use, but again, that's going to be as the town selects.
All right, that is worded simply, as a gift to the town, as the town sees fit to use. There's no other predetermined uses for it, correct?
In terms of that dwelling house, yes.
All right, I'll open up for some questions right now from the board. Richie?
Is the 55 and older, I see it says age restricted, and there's a line. I presume it is only the houses around the loop. It's not the individual houses going out along Field
Yeah,
Lane.
they all have their own lots. So
That's correct.
the 55.
So it's going to be a private road in the back
Yeah.
and the 24 houses around.
Okay.
When you say private road, does not become a part of the town's?
That is correct. So the roads in the front, Cooper Farm Lane, Field Lane, Vint Lane, those will be public. And then just the little loop in the back will remain private.
What's the purpose for that?
Want to do that?
Yeah, it sits on its own parcel. It, as part of this entire filing, that will be the special permit file. So because that sits on its own lot, it's basically deemed a driveway. It will be a driveway made to, subdivision rules and regulations as it's required, but it actually sits on its own lot.
So that means the town will plow everything down to the circle, and those people have to plow their own spot?
Yeah, well, it will be a homeowners association for the over 55s.
The same as White Street.
That's, and they deal with their own plowing?
Yes, they do.
Okay. All right, that answers my question. And the pathway that connects to the pathway that we were just talking about, where would that be?
If you look up at the screen, I can put the cursor up there. So this region over here is the subdivision that you were just talking about.
Yes.
What they were talking about, the wetlands crossing or that wet area is right in this area. there is an existing path that connects these two properties together. So we'd be utilizing that same path to, increase it, the size of it, and make it more accessible. But that is the location of the path. And that path would come in this way. It would then, the existing path actually comes this way, so it would still follow the existing path. It would bifurcate at this point, where it would come around the back into this big open space.
Okay.
There are also trails that run along the perimeter right now, and actually runs through this little finger of wetlands.
Is there a way to connect that path to the circle or to the private road?
Yes, so at the bifurcation, it would come this way also, around the back of the units, and then up along the property line,
Oh, I see.
connecting up to
the sidewalk.
To Great Road.
Yeah,
to Great
there's a
Road.
sidewalk on Great Road. Okay,
Is there a sidewalk that far to Great Road?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Right to the border
It's there,
of the
but
property.
Right,
It's right at the corner.
To be redone.
okay, but it's there.
And then part of our agreement is to go from where it needs to be repaired all the way to the subdivision.
and that path will be built to like bicycle standards?
Well,
We're not
on
paving
119, out on 119 it'll be paved, and then I think in our host community agreement, we have it as just either grass or stone dust walking path all the way through it.
Can you make it stone dust, or at least do the
We have bark mulch in our host agreement, Michael. Yeah.
the prep work? Can you do the prep work though, so that later on the town could pave it?
I don't want to pave a path back there,
mean, I think-
behind those units.
I think we want to be careful as we're coming into the big open space about putting pavement back there. I mean, we do have sidewalks along Field Lane, but then around the back edge of the property, or the top edge as you're looking at it, I think the contemplation was just a pure walking trail, bark mulch or grass.
Where is the 7 acre or so parcel that the Wellington Drive is donated? It's right below where you have the septic field, correct? Upper left-hand corner?
So he just went through the cursor's going between the lower charge area and the retention.
All there?
It's coming up
That
there.
is part of it? No, what is it? I don't know. What is it?
Oh,
Huh?
So the portion that we're purchasing from On the Rail Farm, Jonathan, if you want to mark it, it's upper.
I wasn't in the meetings with the selectmen, so I...
Oh, no worries at all. But that is being purchased for fair market value. And
Oh, it's roughly,
it's sort of a
like this.
square in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that it's
That's what
roughly
you guys
like
are getting
that.
from Wellington, correct?
On the rail.
Yeah.
on the rail,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
And what is the town receiving as far as the open space? That's where we shifted it to the front. Is that right? And the backside also, this open space down here?
the
We
open
could al-
spaces pretty much remain the same. They are 2 parcels out front, which is up here.
Three.
Three.
Yeah,
But-
three out front. This one, and this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then there's the big one out back here.
yeah.
So my question, on the new open space development plan, there's a net loss of 13,000, and I'm quoting here, 13,443 feet. How does the town get that back?
The town can get it back. The reason why it was a loss is I put the ponds in it.
Okay.
So the ponds don't have to sit in this area. The ponds can actually go like this. So that, the remainder of this parcel, which has been taken out of open space, can go back in.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to keep the ponds out of the open space, so that they're on their own lot, so that for the operation and maintenance, the town doesn't need any type of like easement to go on to the open space.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Jim, would you rather have them maintain it, or do you want to maintain it?
The ponds,
Yeah,
if they're part of the drainage system on the public road, it'll be the town's responsibility.
right, so if it remains a private parcel and it's part of the units for the subdivision, not 55 and older, it's a private parcel, so if we lose 1,300 square feet, but the town doesn't have to pay the maintenance.
Well, it depends on if they're trying to tie in Cooper Lane and Field Lane to those ponds. Is that part of your design?
The way that my design is going right now is Field Lane, Cooper Farm Lane, and Vent Lane will be served on their own ponds that are separate from the over 55 drainage.
Okay. I see
So
the one-
all of the drainage and maintenance for the drainage of the over 55 will be taken care of by the homeowners association and will be separate from the roadway, from the accepted roadways.
Okay. I want to have this discussion because I want it on the record that I think it behooves the town to take the net loss of the 1,300 plus square feet if we don't incur the cost of maintaining those ponds.
Okay.
But I want to have discussion on it. Does anybody have opinion? Because
Well, if they put them up on this lot, that's gonna impact the trail, right?
Right, plus it only impacts the trail. We don't have to pay to take care of those. We either take care of by these.
But the trail's a very important asset.
Right.
The
so-
trail will be there no matter what. There'll always be, I can get the trail to go between the ponds and the backs of the lots. There will be a path there.
6-foot wide trail?
Yeah.
Good. Then I'm okay with either.
But again, he hasn't designed it yet, so what we're trying to do is get him to design it so that it doesn't take.
Right. Of course,
These-
it still needs to get approved
Right?
from the selectmen because it's part of the host community agreement, but.
Not the placing of those things, but as far as
No.
the reduction of
In
the
that loss,
13,000, yeah.
Then
That was that, Michael?
He's asking JJ.
You know, show how you, like you said, you were gonna move those two ponds anyway.
If you move those stormwater management areas, these two, right here,
Yep.
over to there,
Yes.
that would pick up all of the over 55?
No.
All right, so
No,
how are you
because
gonna do it
these
so that you
these two ponds take water from Field Lane.
Okay, all right, so there we have it.
But if they move them over to the over 55 section, then
He's still gonna get the water off of Cooper Lane someplace. Where's it going? Correct?
Yeah, it's going into those ponds.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's always gonna go to those ponds. I can't make it
So then we
disappear.
can't, we're not,
Then move that lot line then.
If it's part of the roadway drainage system, it's gonna have to be part of the town property to maintain.
Right, that's
Right.
why,
So what I'm trying to say is how do we get?
the land back then.
Yeah,
Then we want
well,
the.
I mean, his idea was good as far as moving it, but if you moved it over and it's still taking that water, it's,
Yeah, but even if they're detention basins,
It's still open
it's still
space.
open.
It's still open area. I mean, it's not.
I mean,
There's gonna be easement there anyway, to get to those anyway.
it's who maintains them. That's what we're at.
This town's gonna maintain them.
So then,
We're gonna-
now where would you, so if it is possible to
So if you
move
move the lot line, we get to 13,444.
If we get that back, yeah, so if he took those and turned them, is that too much retention ponds next to, too close to one another, or are you talking
No,
1, 2, 3.
that one, these, and these two?
No, that doesn't make
You
a
held them right along the back?
that doesn't make a difference.
All right, and then you could turn the walking path in one direction or the other, or both?
It's gonna go between the
It
houses.
can go between the houses and the detention ponds, it can follow the contour line. And we'll have plenty of room between the lot lines and the retention area to go to the backfield as well as go up around the backside of the 55 and over.
Okay,
All right, so, this is getting redundant.
so there's,
We'll be able to go around up there
Yep.
and around over here. So
Yes.
there'd be two access points, two access ways
From-
through that. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, if you could request trails be shown on the plan, because then
Yeah.
that way you can get input from those who are interested in.
Sorry,
looking at that.
we can ask for that,
Absolutely.
please?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
where else are we?
Oh,
Can I
Peter?
ask a question?
Sure.
Thanks.
Did you have your hand up?
No, I didn't. I
All
just
right, it's my
asked.
fault. All right.
The old parcel B, the part that's the over 55, when it was originally discussed about the open space plan for Wellington, the advantage of parcel B going with the Cooper Farm was that we were gonna get more open space for this subdivision. Now, we're giving, by putting parcel B in there, you're getting like 24 houses over there. Where's the added open space that we get for the trade-off over there?
The preliminary design for this site included the over 55 down in this area, which limited, now remember, we didn't have the other piece from the horse farm or on the rail. So there was a very narrow piece of open space up in here. So what you're gaining with this is a large piece of open space down in here.
How much of that is wetlands?
It's a beautiful field, you were just out there.
Let the
you said
wetlands
last
alone.
week.
Do you see the size of this? And that includes the wetlands. It's a huge field.
like over 12 acres.
It's huge.
Oh, that's great.
Does that have something to do with utes?
Yeah, the two utes.
Oh, I didn't mean to make funny.
Okay, does that answer your question, Mike?
No, it really doesn't. Could I see, do you have the preliminary before this was?
The old one, I can bring it up. It's gonna take me a minute.
Well, before he does that, then, since that's gonna take time, I still haven't resolved in my mind this walking path that's gonna connect to Great
We're
Road.
gonna put it on a drawing so we get to, instead of just me pointing fingers and you pointing fingers, we'll put something in pencil on paper.
Right, because we know some of the request is for connectivity, including to Oak Road.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Finley had a question?
I did, but we've gained this open space down below, and we haven't, at some point in time, we were talking about putting a playing field down there that would be accessed from Oak Road. Could that
No,
be
I think
reserved
that-
for something in the future?
No, I think the discussion, the last time we had a discussion, that wasn't an option to put a field down there, one, because it is wetlands, and two, they weren't gonna grant access to it because of the residents are trying to sell a certain product, and that product wouldn't be marketable with a playing field down there. They were willing to give the space up above for playing fields.
Right.
And that's part of our agreement, with our host community agreement, that the large parcel in the bottom of the parcel is open space, and the playing fields would be up by Great Road.
Okay.
Could I ask, could that be accessed for agriculture? I mean,
Can it be, can Danny Pickett hay it? Is that what you're saying?
exactly, it has to be maintained, or it's gonna go back to invasives, or, it's gonna be.
Or the way its natural state before man came and made it into a field?
It would be great.
Kind of like on
Mike,
Clover.
Could you speak to that, Mike?
There's going to be an easement, access to that field.
For agriculture.
For Danny to
someone to go in there,
how- hay it.
hay it, you know, someone get in there with a tractor to hay it if they have to.
How will that access be off the circle there?
When you
Off
do
Big
the,
Circle?
when you guys,
It'll be off of, between the end of the circle and the 55 and over. Right
That's
there.
how you're gonna get to
Right
it?
there, yep,
Okay.
Way over there?
yep.
It's going to
And
go,
Well,
that
that's
way you
where the
don't go
path is.
through wetlands.
The path is right here, right now.
Which one's he pointing at, right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you tell me farm equipment, pickup trucks, hauling hay?
I
Be
drove
able
down
to-
there.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
well,
I take my
there's
car
no
to-
houses there now.
I
but
just drove down.
When there are houses and curbs and all the other stuff, you'll have a
This
total
is-
access?
Yes.
Yeah.
access
Okay.
there.
All right.
And those two stormwater, we'll.
And I don't know what your host agreement was, that open space that's above the septic up there on parcel A,
Yeah.
up by the road, that has no restriction on whether it be active or passive recreation? Or is it, because isn't there a?
That's active.
And how about where, the next one is where the house lot is, the existing house?
The existing
Agricultural.
house is, it's,
Huh?
Agricultural.
Agricultural, it's not recreation, whether active or passive, it's agricultural. So alls we're getting to, if we wanted to make fields, is that, that area right above that septic area, right there, that's the only place we can put any type of field in. For sports or any other thing, correct?
It's
Correct.
large enough for a field, yes.
it's about 5 acres, right?
Yeah, that's a good size.
But again, that's all, it can be, everything else is basically
Agricultural,
conservation or
open
conservation.
Agricultural.
Not conservation, be careful with that word.
Agricultural open space.
Yeah.
So then again,
Agricultural open space.
there you go.
We have a
This
hand.
can be, I just want to reiterate, that is active recreation, a field, a
open space
sports
A.
field,
Open space.
open space A.
Yes, that's correct.
Lacrosse, soccer, basketball,
No buildings.
Motocross.
motocross,
No
yeah.
motors, no motocross.
Non-electric motors.
Okay.
One last time,
Can that be agriculture,
what?
the active, if it's not, if it doesn't become a playing field, if the town doesn't go along with that, can that be agriculture?
No.
The agreement that we have with the sellers of the property, they were very specific about how they wanted this property to be used and to honor their agreement as well as the agreement we've entered with the town. The open space A is the part that's designated for recreation use. B and C, that still see up on the front, are designated for agricultural, and then the large parcel is open space.
If the town does not vote to put playing fields there, what happens to the land?
We'll put a dirt track in and we'll race motorcycles.
It'll be a hayfield.
I'm sure something will, at some point in time, it's gonna turn into something, but will it?
Will this be deed restricted so that it can only be that and not agricultural?
No.
It could be, I mean, that would,
There's part of this host agreement that we're not privy to, correct?
no, it's actually on the website, it's all
sorry.
I would
published.
request the consent of the Coopers.
So whether it's, to become something
Something other
than
than active recreation, and then
I just wanna
agricultural,
leave it the way it is.
open. So it's,
Once the town decides that it can become whatever it becomes, I'd rather just left it open. I don't want it, it's either this or that. Is that all right, Mr. Finley?
Are you saying this or agriculture?
Oh, Peter, no, we can be more flexible.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not gonna be this or that. It's just, it's gonna stay the way.
Recreational.
Yeah.
Until we have the consent of the Coopers.
Okay, the last question I got for you is, you have that house and it's part of an agreement that goes to something, correct?
Going towards our affordable.
It's either going towards Habitat for Humanity, senior center, park and recs.
So it could go to Park and Rec.
Yes.
All right, what are the chances of the Cooper Farm Lane coming in on the other side of the house? On the east side of that house?
What are you
I
talking
think we
about?
have that.
Eliminating one entrance?
I think we have
No, that one
as-
stays there.
He
but-
wants to be able to access the ball
That way
fields
the-
from that house in case
Right.
you decide to do recreation.
Let's say that turns into the Park and Rec. That way they're connected to the field, they don't have to cross that road, you know.
That extends
We'd have to have
the
the
field
consent of the
lane,
Coopers, wouldn't we?
If
we
I,
get over 750 feet.
yeah, I don't think so.
I know what he's
Is that
saying.
what
He's
it is?
saying put the road on the,
Yeah, we
Yeah, we're
can,
just
we can
limited
grant
to two accesses.
waiver for that 750
It's
feet.
if you do that, though, then you're gonna be cutting this agricultural field, that's gonna be a really small piece for
Right.
equipment,
I agree
so.
with that.
Auto farm there, yeah.
Thank you, Jerry.
So do we need two entrances then?
We do. need to.
Absolutely,
Just-
yes.
With volume, you'll need to.
That's a good point, Peter.
I think we need two entrances, and I think
I mean,
Jamie's
with
right.
the way
we
it's
need
drawn,
to-
the way it's, man, I like that, but I kind of wish it was a,
Put a crosswalk in. Put a
Yeah.
crosswalk in.
with lights and a crossing guide and all that stuff.
Yeah, put a push button, flash around.
We're really, you wanna keep going, or you wanna?
I've had enough if you had enough.
I've had enough.
How can we capture that little piece of open space so that it can become agricultural with a bigger piece of open space? Can we move
What
it?
little open space you're
I
talking
was talking
about?
about this piece
Yeah.
down here, the corner on Cooper Farm.
Yeah, is there a way to capture that so that it becomes a usable?
That's what he's talking about.
Isn't that
Sorry?
what-
He's just talking about
Yeah, I
potentially moving
understand
this
what he's
over.
saying.
Moving the front, moving the road.
Have you guys
Is there
looked
a
at moving
site
that
issue
road
with
right
where
up to
that
the
road comes
property
out?
line?
It wasn't there, I know there was some discussion and consideration about where that entrance was, do you
Yes,
recall?
because then it starts sloping down over the hill and then.
So it's a sight line, it's a sight line issue?
Exactly.
Okay, I'd rather be safe pulling
Sight line
out of
and
a
grading.
driveway than.
Yeah, it does start to slope
I
down.
think it'd be nice to have it open on both sides as you head into your house after working a long day in the city, you know? All that open space. And I like this all being open, because this would be a nice house to, can we buy these?
Absolutely.
I
Okay.
can't.
If you vote yes
I
today,
can't.
you can buy them.
No,
How's that?
can't vote. That's why I got no monies in it.
I'm okay
All
with
right,
that.
I'm good. Is anyone other questions from the, you were happy with everything you witnessed, Mr.? You got nothing to do with this yet? No opinion?
They said he,
You can say, but you can't say?
right, he did, the applicant did not agree to the peer review on the preliminary, but Luke decided to stay to hear some of the discussion.
It's not an issue. Still, opinions are a lot like, never mind. Last one.
Last one, just quick. Jerry Cavalli, 8 Uplands Road Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, not to totally disregard the issue of having a paved bicycle path. What we've done here is put in 2 developments that are blocking access for people to go. And all we're asking is to have the public be able to transverse between Route 119.
What do you mean blocking?
Well, this development and all the streets are going in. Previously, people could walk through.
They'd be trespassing.
We're providing walking and bicycle through. We've been commissioned by the town to get people out of their cars and off Jim Clyde's roads, so we don't have to keep building bigger roads. And this would be a way that people could do that, get exercise, and get around town. And it benefits the people in the area who are going to be
Nice football field and lacrosse field would be nice.
and they can walk and ride to it on their bikes. That's all.
We can take their advisement, we can meet with them, we can get some of their opinions on this.
Sure.
Michael, would you take the time to do that?
Yeah.
That'd be
Why don't
great.
you two introduce each other after the meeting and have a set down?
We're
We
doing
good?
preliminary plan right now, and
What's our,
definitely make it so it's accessible.
what's our
So
action?
what's your preference? Do you want to see the updated sketches?
We want to see a
at the next
sketch showing the
meeting?
trails, showing the easements, showing,
The access to the bottom field, moving
right,
detention basin.
retention pond, moving the property line, getting us our 13.
I'd like to see the pre and post open space plans before the.
Show them the,
Do you think-
The first one?
Yes.
What they are doing.
That one?
Yep, that's it.
how about,
So it didn't, that one does not show the actual, the footprints of the 12 units that would be down in the, what is now all open space, but they would be down.
Down
Yes.
right where you, over to the
Right.
left, right there. That would be, that's the bottom field, that's where the 12 units of
That's 12 units,
55 were.
55, yeah.
And so the
And
open
that's the field
space
detaining mark.
was much smaller, as you can see, it's just on the far left of the plan, and now it's a
And
large contiguous parcel.
I thought we had access to that from off of, it's not Narcissus Road, what is it?
They didn't want it.
Who's they?
The neighbors on that road.
The residents of that road.
Laurel?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say that they can't do it because there's already a path there. And actually, this piece right here is a paper right-of-way. This is
Right.
town-owned property. So there is a path that runs through here already.
Right.
And right about here, it cuts through into Harrison's property.
Right, and there's an open lot there in between 2 houses that I
That's,
thought,
No, that's further
they're
down.
up Laurel Road
That's
to
further down.
Wellington.
Yeah, that's on their piece that they were talking about.
that is a way to access that lower field, correct?
Yes.
not that low.
Not
Oh,
that
this
low
one?
field. We're not-
The only
we're not
way to
having a
access
ball
this
field
lower
down there.
field is through here.
Walking
This is
path.
the path.
Okay. The walking path exists on the paper road
All
currently,
right,
so.
good enough for now. Made your,
Can I still see a plan when you come before us the next time? See both plans? Actually, we just,
of
That
the-
would, go to switch
I
back
don't,
to
no, not
that?
on a little, I wanna see a paper plan,
Oh, sure.
that's all.
That's
Jim?
what I got going on this week.
I understand what the bike and the pedestrian people are trying to do. I guess the town side, and I'll call it the board of selectmen, are gonna have to weigh in on what are the repercussions of the maintenance of if you do a paved path at 6 feet? Is that a year-round path? And what's gonna be required of the town on the maintenance side? Just,
well, they're trying to get people out and exercise them, so we're gonna get them all shovels.
Peter, I'm one of those bicycle guys.
Well, get on your shovel and start shoveling some stuff.
I mean, I'd just like to know, I mean, what are
It's the
the,
same.
I think
what
we
are
need
the
to look
drainage
at
issues
what we did
and
at
things like
Cobb's.
that? There's
CP green?
All
gonna
right,
be some maintenance that
They
has
built
to
it
come
on
to the town side.
paths,
after
right?
we do that.
Possibly, yeah.
Part of the development.
Not
I
possibly,
thought it was.
I just wanna understand what our
They
role
built,
would
we
be.
built there's
in the
paths up
future.
there, right?
Well, that's a good discussion,
well,
Jimmy,
we'll
because
save that for a little while later. We're an hour at least behind on our getting through the.
going forward,
Could just,
there'll be,
one thing for Mr.
bicycles will
McNamara.
be,
At the
bicycle
end of the
paths will be
host
talked
community-
about
Richie,
every.
please, wait a minute. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. At the end of the host community agreement, that old plan, this one is attached. So actually, it's my copy, I'm happy to give you one. or
But
I
that
don't-
doesn't show all the land going up that way. You cut it off before it gets there.
Because we
didn't
didn't
have
own
it
that.
back
We
then.
didn't have that under agreement, so the old plan didn't show it.
But you do now, right? It's part of Cooper Farm, right?
Right, and so now the new plan shows the 55 and over being moved up into the, on the rail property.
But
And
that's
that,
I'm talking about the front.
Point to it.
The very top of it, right after the parking lot. It keeps
me show
going. Right? It's big enough to be a ball field. Where's that land?
What,
Which
where
land?
are you talking
Oh,
about?
he just scrolled it down.
This
Right
was
here?
not
Yes,
owned
roll it
by
down.
This is the land that
No,
we're
no, no.
buying.
Yeah, that's on the farm back
Right.
there. So that would all be open space anyway, because there's no way they could get to it.
But
That-
that wasn't part of their
That's,
open space.
that has nothing to do with us. We purchased this
I
land.
get that. I'm just trying to see how much open space there would have been without that parcel, and that parcel left in its natural
would have-
state. And what you have, and the picture doesn't go far enough down because there's more land up on top of it. No, the other way.
This is our boundary line,
That-
right here, coming like this.
Coming down there, the adjacent land is the
Right.
That's
Church
what we're
Meadows.
purchasing.
Right.
Church Meadows is adjacent to that, right there.
That's
Going
right
down
here.
this
Is west
line.
of that.
Right. So that, that whole little piece up in that corner
What, this
is,
right here?
is area B, is the lot B. No, not that piece, that piece.
That piece was additional,
was not,
This is part of on the rail.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So that's open space, that would have been open space no matter what.
How would it have been open space? They would have had two
Not
lots
under
back
our
there.
plan.
on his proof
We
plan,
had,
that
he
wasn't
had
part
two
of
lots
it.
back there on.
He had two lots back there.
If they could have gotten to it, but there's no way.
He
they
could have got to him. He had the
Well, we
approval.
could have gave him an easement or sold him.
The point is, I'm just trying to see how much open space we gained by that piece being,
Mixing apples.
by 24 houses going there as opposed to 2 houses, how much more open space there would have been. That's all I'm trying to,
Yeah, but you're
It's a-
mixing.
Our plan is
it's a
showing
fair question.
67% open space on a
I-
subdivision. Is there one in Littleton that has
Pri-
67%?
Prior to us buying that parcel, we had about 52% open space. So now we have 15% more open space by buying that parcel.
Well, Mark, let's give it an actual number. The proposal of this one was 549 and something, I can't really read it. So 550,000 square feet of open space. And we're now proposing 953,000.
that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
The
Doubled
advantage
it.
of
Okay.
putting that in there.
Almost doubled it.
Yeah.
So you answered my question.
Okay.
thank you.
And we're still getting open space on the gold.
That's all right, when that's,
You would like this on the, see them again on the December?
yes.
Okay,
And
December
if that works in their schedule, the fastest, because it doesn't seem we're having a lot of issues, problems here, and it's not, I don't care if you fast track them or not, but I just,
Do you want to show Green and Kirby?
I want to show, yes.
Not ready for definitive.
All right, we
Like
good?
consent.
We want them to show the walking paths on it, we want to show, da-da-da-da, and you're,
Double or nothing.
Close the hearing.
Michael, you're going to
It's not
speak with
hearing, it's a
the gentleman over
just a
there?
discussion.
Great.
End of discussion?
End of discussion.
All right, we're all done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What
And we're back
time?
when?
When are we on for the definitive?
December 1st?
December when?
It's
No,
not,
no.
that's just.
Not
You're not-
still
no,
preliminary.
preliminary.
Still preliminary. What time for the people in the audience? We don't know yet?
Right.
To be determined?
Well, yeah, and it's not a hearing, so
All right.
we'll schedule it
The,
as.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The circles. The
All right,
circles.
where are we now? I lost my page.
You have 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'll keep patching for you.
Huh? How am I doing? Not so
Oh, you're doing
good.
good. Yeah, you're good. You're
All
good.
right. All right, now,
I'm drinking after
this is going to be Reader's Digest version.
Absolutely.
No, every
Condensed,
and is a buck into the till that goes towards building us a new.
Why don't we just say yes now and be done with it?
You show us, we'll do due diligence. Jesus, Marion.
Hey, you can't text while you're in a meeting.
What else
Not
we got?
texting.
What, are you playing games?
Yeah, I'm playing
Right,
games.
chill out.
Is there a way we can drink here?
well, he's got, you don't know if that, in that bottle.
And I won't disclose it either.
Good evening, I'm Robert Oliver with David Ross Associates. I'm here tonight with representatives from TMC Leasing and McKinney Cement. We're here, we requested a modification to the site plan that you approved last summer, last August.
The plan at that time was to replace the existing concrete batch plant with a new, more modern facility on the footprint of the old one. The plan you have in front of you tonight takes that one step further. The existing silos that are on site, at the time, we were proposing to leave alone. We didn't know the plan for those. TMC is partnered up with McKinnis Cement, who plans to build a new cement unloading facility to replace those existing silos. The plan you see in front of you, so it includes the concrete batch plant that you saw on the plan last August. Next to that would be the existing silos. I believe there's 11 of them, the little round circles underneath the rail siding, which I'll get to in a second. The new facility would be 3 modern silos. The plan now is to eventually have a rail spur to come into the site. Historically, there was one there. It was taken out some number of years ago. So this is all in keeping with the existing special permits that are in place for the site. The use was already approved under the old special permits for the site. I got an in there, so I owe you $1. The plan will be two phases. They're adding up. 2 phases. The first one is the rail spur will come at a later date, so they'll use trucks to bring in the cement and also unload and ship some out. Later on, it'll take some time to get the rail spur approved and installed. The rail spur will come in, replace some of the truck traffic required for the cement coming in and out.
On the rail spur. The MBTA has,
Could you have your name, sir?
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't know Bill?
Pardon?
I said, you don't know Bill?
I am Bill Beauregard, I'm with TMC Leasing in Middlesex.
Your last name is what?
What's that?
Your last name?
Beauregard.
Get out.
No,
That's
truly.
the coolest name? I'm sorry.
We approached the MBTA, we had the rail siding there years ago when we used to serve the concrete plant across the street. They took it out when they double-tracked that for commuter rail. We have entered into an understanding with the MBTA and Pan Am Freight. Pan Am, you can't move freight on that line unless Pan Am does it. They've committed in writing, and MBTA has committed in writing, to put that siding back to service McKinnis Cement. But when you're working with the railroad, it takes a very long time to do anything.
All the livelong day, right?
Oh, yeah. Right, so.
Good one.
That's not bad.
Nice work.
So anyways, that's the phasing. That's the only reason for the phasing. If we could do it tomorrow, we would.
All right.
I just wanted to point that out, that the commitment's made.
As far as these silos, are they going to look like the standard? You know,
Standard, I'm trying to think of the rating.
Grain bin?
But basically, a 3-silo grain bin would be, they're more substantial because they're Holland cement. They're also going to be raised up about 15, 18 feet out of the ground, but the overall height remains the same of the silos that are there today.
All right, what's the diameter of these things? What do they hold in them primarily?
Cement.
Cement.
Yeah.
Line, dust.
About 350 tons each.
There's no, I just have personal, there's no fire issues with those?
No, it's an inert material, and all of the systems, from the rail cars coming in or the trucks coming in, the cement never sees the day of light. There's
Light of day.
Yeah.
We can have Mark start making those, but you missed the one.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
It's a cement product. It's one of the ingredients in the ready mix. So we're making ready mix and storing cement and distributing, you know.
Will there be any advertising on the silos?
It's not planned.
Okay. You go for a permit when you do.
We need a signed bylaw.
We do, and we're working on it.
Go Tigers.
Further away from the wetland.
Nittany limes.
Just
American flag.
Just in pointing out, when we were here, we made a point of keeping the concrete batch plant right on top of the old footprint. Under this footprint, you can see the little circles.
Yeah.
The silos.
You're gonna put the rail underneath, well.
Yeah, the
Listen,
rail.
you're bringing it in tighter, it looks better.
Yeah, we're working, we have wetlands there. That whole area is currently developed, it's all paved and concrete. So we're sitting well within the footprint of what's already developed. And we have to go through conservation, get order of conditions from them.
Right.
So it's, again, similar to what we proposed last year. The stormwater management systems that are currently in place are designed to handle the flow coming off of it because it's all currently impervious.
So are you gonna be a batching plant, or are you gonna be a distributor of batching materials?
Two things are happening. We have the ready-mix plant, this normal ready-mix trucks that you see up and down the road. Those silos will have cement. Middlesex Ready-Mix, what's the name?
Materials.
Massachusetts Ready Mix.
The new company they're coming out of is Massachusetts Ready Mix. The other company, which is McInnes, will be selling us cement. They'll also be selling other people's cement, too.
And they'll be picking it up at your
They'll be
location.
picking it up.
Okay.
The dry cement,
Right, the product.
the product. The ingredient that goes into ready mix.
Do we need lawyers here? Because it's like it's going for three different people at the same
Well,
time.
we want to make sure that you know who's doing what.
Oh, all right. I'm good.
All right, do we need a vote?
On the site plan, yeah. The only suggestion, well, I had heard was ask whether they're updating any of the landscaping.
There's monitoring going on that site now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's monitoring wells everywhere.
Oh, yeah, we
Right.
did all that.
What are we gonna landscape, the swamp?
Well,
What about all the extra material, the equipment that's out there? This is just gonna be for your use, right? All the other stuff's gonna be gone, all the other trucks and everything out front was, that's
That
still.
is us.
That is you.
The yard is all our stuff. There's no,
There's no tenant, no
We should
lease
make a put
agent,
name
nobody.
tag. You're Middlesex, right?
yeah.
All right, so that's Middlesex.
Middlesex TMC Leasing, he's McInnes Cement.
Just put a big M out there.
All right.
They can
I
make a
don't have any
motion,
problem with this.
It's been there forever.
like make a motion for modified site plan for concrete batching plant for 3 new silos and removal of the old silos.
Those in favor?
Second.
You need a second?
Well, I'm waiting.
Second.
I'm trying to speed up.
and just to clarify, do you want them to come back for the rail sighting or not? So you didn't say-
As long as they pass everything else, they're
Well, I
gonna go through
didn't hear
conservation.
that as part of it.
I didn't make a motion on that part. I think,
Okay.
I think when the rail's ready to go in, they should come back.
Yeah, they should at least give us
Well,
a.
we need that. We need that to.
We're gonna approve it,
fulfill
but
the
we wanna
business.
see it. We
You'll
wanna
you'll
see
get it, we just want to see the plan.
It's right there. It's on the plan.
Because it's not going to change from that at all.
Well, here's the thing with the rail. Again, back to the railroad. It has to go back where it came out because of the grades and the design. And the storage, I don't even know if the
I'd
storage.
like to amend my motion to approve the rail spurs.
If you went there, you could see, as you physically stand there, you can see the path going right down where the railroad goes.
All right, it's been amended. Do I hear a second to the amendment? All those in favor?
Aye.
You have what you need, get
trust.
moving. Leave $3 on the table.
Was it 3?
Yeah, I stopped counting after
Okay.
3.
Thank you.
We're good?
Thank you.
Don't be afraid to visit often and vote early and vote often.
Do you need any concrete, Pete?
No, I don't. No, that's it. I can't even say that.
Subdivision?
He wants concrete curbs now, I think.
No, you don't.
All right, thank you very much.
Some shoes, maybe.
Yeah, shoes.
I can't say that on TV.
We just did.
Not for, can't say that on TV.
This is cable. Guess you can swear on cable, right? I think you're.
I've been pretty good not to say any swears at all.
We done yet?
Almost.
Not yet.
And there's a tree cutter back again, right? Losing it? All right, where are we at now?
Violator. It's easy.
Okay, we are 8:30. Headed orchard. I thought it was
8:30.
gonna be a different discussion, but here we are. Do you want to start?
Sure. What you do wrong now?
Where
We didn't cut
is,
anything down yet.
You didn't get any of this information.
So today, as you know, the last time we were here in front of you, you were kind enough to provide us with our driveway access for lots 3, 4, and 5 on Oak Hill. So we filed for our building permits. And the past couple of days, there has been a discussion that, if I understand it correctly, and you can correct me because I'm reading emails from Maine and trying to understand what my lawyers are weighing in on. But our permits are being held because there is a concept, I guess I would say, that each of this, because it's an open space plan that these lots were approved under, that each of the lots are individually site plans. And since Brem drew conceptual footprints on each of the lots, and now we have actual homes sold, that the homes sold don't match the conceptual plans that were provided to us prior to purchasing. So this is more of a larger discussion because it not only involves these 3 lots, but the 24 we're building the road inside the subdivision. So Maren has been kind enough to, and having several exchanges with Paul Alphen, Mark Shire, over the past couple of days. We have read the ordinance. We have read the scenic road information that's available. And we've read the decision, and I brought the decision tonight just in case you guys didn't have a copy of it. And I've got to tell you that after 35 years of doing this, I'm kind of stumped because I can't find anywhere, either in your ordinance or in the decision, where a open space lot requires the developer or the builder to come back to the planning board each time a building permit is issued. I understand conceptually, because I also do commercial work, and if this was, as an example, in Maine, they do subdivisions and site plans simultaneously. So you not only get a subdivision approval, but you get a site plan approval. So on the findings of fact, you would have specific denotion that would say you can't move a building more than 5 feet horizontally, you can't move a building more than 2 feet vertically without coming back to the building, to either the staff of the Who planning. denied you? Roland denied you? We weren't denied. The plans are being held.
By who? I'm holding one of them. I'm looking for your input.
So.
I'm holding it for 2 days.
Yeah, no, it's not been a long time. And I don't want to say this is egregious in any way, and that's why we came tonight. So we're confused because it's not in the approval, it's not in your open space ordinance that we can find, but specifically on Lot 3, we're building the house for a family that has an autistic child. And they requested that the garage be on the opposite side as shown on what was, I don't want to use Brem's words, but he called it his cartoon. And so we've moved the garage from one side to the other because the client requested it. The driveway is in the exact location that you approved it. But once we get onto our own property, the driveway moves to the opposite side. And there are some grading changes because the house is different, from what the character was that's on here. But now inside the subdivision, we have the same question. Now we have 24 lots in the subdivision.
Mark, we had the same issue up off of Gristmill, where they built their houses.
Right.
We didn't hold up there.
Well, but I came back to you guys to get your input on it, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I had no problem with,
4 and 5.
yeah, 4 and 5 that come in, even the scenic roadway special permit part of it, I'm not concerned about that because the entrances are at the same place. It's just that when you approve the open space special permit, it includes a site plan. And how much rope are you giving me to have leeway on these, is my question to you.
When we approve them, we approve an envelope area.
No, not on an open space special permit.
We have been though. We've done 10 open spaces. We've never had anybody come in for a modification because they have to squidge the house around a little bit.
Right.
So all I'm saying is I don't think we should be holding them up because they have to move it over a couple of feet this way, a couple of feet that way. I understand you wanted to come to us, but I don't see this as an issue there, because we're flip-flopping the garage, and then, I could see if they're making a bigger house, or something like that, a substantially bigger house than what was proposed out there, but you're proposing the same size.
Lot coverage is the same, open space is the same.
You know, your approval speaks to setbacks. We're well within the setbacks. This lot actually is a 40-foot setback because, if you remember, the side is along where the trail is. So the family who has the autistic child is concerned about the trail being on the side where the house is,
To make it nice and easy, why don't we just say that we don't have a problem with this house, it's in the envelope of where it should be, it may be flip-flop, but we don't see any degradation to what we considered the open space plan back then, and let it go at that. I don't.
Second.
You know, I don't, this is, I'm puzzled by this too, because when I've been sitting here, it's like, you know, I'm approving a conceptual drawing.
Exactly.
That has so much impervious. If you don't change that impervious,
Yeah.
I don't really care, and you keep
I-
the setbacks,
I-
I don't care where you put your house, or where the front door is.
No, I understand. I looked to your documents because I was not the developer.
Yeah.
Maren was very kind in helping us through this because it's been kind of
I mean, that's
questionable.
talking, what we're talking about here is flexibility.
Exactly. If we meet the setbacks, which we do.
Yeah.
We
Well,
meet
I'd
the lot
rather
coverage.
err on, caution, so I don't have a problem with this bringing it before us. I don't think we'd have to come back for 28 different more houses or whatever it is. But, and the reason when she showed it to me, I kind of like, and she made the same statement. What do I do?
Right.
So
I
the
get
question is, I figured you were flip-flopping them so the driveways weren't right next to each other all the ways down. But as far as a child being, the walking path, whether he's awoke by the people coming up and down and this and the other stuff. In this instance, I don't really see an issue. Does anyone? No issues? Do we need a vote on this one in particular, or no?
No,
Just simply,
I was just looking for your direction.
This is
Okay.
consensus,
And I appreciate having.
any issue?
Yeah. No?
None?
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Shouldn't have
It's
any.
always pleasant to have it, getting to spend some time with you guys.
See,
Being last on the agenda at night is always pleasant.
Is it on?
we're trying to. At
Is
least
it raining out, or is
I'm
that
trying
something
to
else
make
hitting
sure
in the
that
boots?
This process is faster and cleaner and.
I really
clearer
like that dude's
for you
name,
guys.
Beauregard.
Thank you.
That was a good.
You like his name?
There's a story about
Good
the
luck,
Beauregard.
sorry about that.
Thank you.
What better way to spend the third tonight, it's not even a big football game on.
It's always education. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If not informative.
Thank you, Maren.
Are we done? Have a great evening.
Almost.
Did you guys do Bandit Orchard Bond?
What's that?
Bandit Orchard Bond?
See, we're done now, you, just want to hear us swear at each other.
We,
This.
where is
Ann, my
the,
apologies for calling you Ann earlier.
there's a bond issue coming up on something, right? Where did I read all those?
They never submitted new information, so.
We didn't do it.
Well, did you guys look at this one? Why do I have deja vu bad?
Which one?
Just tell me no gunman's coming through the door.
No, we're all done.
No, I know, but you see this one? This is to do with Bennett, I believe. With Bennett Orchard, Sanderson. See him who just left, right?
Yeah, he's the one that just left.
Okay. So, did you read the packet?
No, I didn't.
All right. It has in here all the things about,
Oh, is this for you?
No, it's for you.
Some light reading for us to take home with us? Damone, should I excuse myself from the fire station stuff? Because I had a run-in with their architect. And I
On what?
hate him.
no, I think hate is a passion that should be exercised much more often than is.
Mark, you have a run-in, a disagreement?
If this is gonna be derogatory, I don't wanna hear
I
it.
did.
No.
Yes, I bid on doing the work on the original fire station repairs. And I didn't get it.
Okay, where are we here? This is
Wait,
for
look
us,
at that.
our home reading?
Yep.
I'm looking for a little bit of input. That's I updated the wording on the proposed budget. You want to know if you are interested in supporting the request for a 20-hour-a-week clerk for the department. Would free me from some of the minutes and filing and helping out at the building department and the Board of Health and Conservation. And it's busy.
Can we share it?
Absolutely. I'm thinking,
Can we, have you discussed this with Keith?
Oh, just sign it.
no, this is, I'm looking for your input first.
Support.
Yeah.
You got mine.
20 hours to hire somebody again? Well,
Yes, and there'll be another body.
Yeah, you absolutely got my support.
well, here's my issue, is that we got, how many hours does it take for somebody to become a,
Part-time employee, I think 32, right?
well, once you become 20, well, what's it take to become a full-time?
That's what I'm saying, 20.
20 is.
So then it's benefits and everything else involved with it. What's this expense over the course of a year equate to, and does money come out of the building department, out of the conservation department, out of?
Well, and exactly where it's put under, I don't see that that really matters. We should have that conversation as a department. But I wanted to start the discussion with you.
And any employee that we bring on for the town should have benefits. You're talking about.
Well, here's the other half of the coin is, once the master plan is over with, that's gonna free up 4 or 5 hours a week for you, right? Maybe even 10 hours a week.
I'm presuming that we're going to be
That's another year.
doing implementation.
Yeah.
If not more than a year.
Yeah. I don't expect it
Well,
to slow
once
down.
again, the last one we went through, what implement,
Well, that's the whole idea.
Why don't we do
Right.
like the fire department? Why don't we see if we can keep the fees and use the fees to pay
No,
pay for the,
Yeah, no.
you could have about 200 hours, not 20 hours.
They don't.
I will put it under advisement for now. It's
Well,
not something I have to
need to-
vote.
I think
Need to put the request in to the finance department. I need to get the budget request in.
But once again,
And
what's,
if you put it in for discussion, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with wording it that way.
I think the 20-hour week is fine, Mary.
and what's the rate?
I picked a clerk level, so it's 18 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
Do I have to type?
Yeah.
Forget it.
That's great.
Well, if you'd like to put it to a vote, you guys, or do you want to table it for right now?
No, Lauren wants to put it in. I say she puts it in.
I'll make that motion
I have a motion is,
to support Maren.
20 hours a week, send it to the finance committee. I'll second that.
got a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The ayes have it.
You
huh?
can abstain.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I just want to make sure that it's not something we end up carrying
Trust me,
on.
up there, there's nobody twirling their thumbs up there. They're very, very busy, so.
Yeah, of course, there's only 3 people in there anyway.
All right, so
Just
this,
gotta approve the minutes,
the bond
right?
and minutes, yeah.
Okay, we had
bond?
draft minutes way
Depending on
back
what
to
you bond.
May 12th and
Not
26th.
here.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from May
Yep, 12 I'll second that.
What about the one you wanted to read and change?
all set.
He took care of it? Found what you were looking for?
Yep.
All
It
those in
wasn't there.
favor?
And you put it in?
I found that, no, it was fine. It was what I wanted to change, what didn't exist, so.
So
we
what
have
was
a
in it was
motion?
what you expected to be in.
What I wanted to be in it was already there.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is that
And-
unanimous?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Good.
And then last month, we forgot to do the September minutes. I gave them to you again. Any changes?
I can make a motion to accept the September minutes.
Got a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Thank you. You noticed I didn't do October minutes. It's been that busy. Bills and payroll.
Is that a little plug for an assistant? I just want to know if
Keep
I'm
it
keeping
going.
up with the project here.
Gee, when I was chairman, we didn't need an assistant.
Really? Look at all the stuff I'm getting taken care of. We need more
We're
people.
2 hours late.
I did the best I could with what I had, and I didn't have much.
No, they never
Yeah,
showed.
we still don't.
We didn't do.
That's
we didn't do-
Colleen's famous
Right,
saying.
did not do Sanderson bond because
With what I had, I
I
didn't
didn't
have
get
much.
the information to bring
Are
to
we
you.
done?
I'm done.
You're done? Can we shut up TV now?
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Night all.
Keaton.